Ahoy! Welcome to episode 1 of the Dailey-Lumber podcast. I'm your host, Daily Beating, and I want to introduce you to my co-host, Sir Lumber.
What is going on? That name is a working title.
A working title. Anyone who can figure out how we came up with it, you have my honor and my respect. So I guess let's just jump into it. We're going to kind of keep it a little casual. We're going to start off with the games we're playing right now. You know, try to wet our whistles here. Brendan, what games are you? What are you currently occupying yourself with?
Well, I am dabbling in all kinds of stuff. I'm now at of an Xbox Series S. So I can say that I have all the video game consoles, the big three, available to me. So as far as what I am
Sounds very
playing
powerful
right now, yes, I feel it. I feel the power. So we start off with the Switch. I'm currently playing Monster Hunter Rise, and that's a really good time. It's my first Monster Hunter game. Officially rolled credits the other day, which really doesn't mean anything in this game. Yeah, doesn't mean much in this game because it's like, from what I've heard, halfway through the game, the credits roll, and you just got a bunch of stuff to do after that. So I'm still grinding through it and having a good time, and I'm getting used to all the systems. But yeah, it's fun. Also playing another first for me in a series. I probably mispronounced this, but I bought for like $7 on the eShop like last week. East Origin.
East Origin.
Yes, East Origin. I don't know how you say that. That YS. I don't know. You know, it's a 2-word name there, but East Origin. I think that's how I've heard it said. And this iteration of it, there's a bunch of games in this series, but this iteration of it, it's kind of like a dungeon crawler. You've got a little chibi sprite of your character, and it's kind of hack and slashy. My character has like an axe and has some abilities, and you go through various dungeons and you fight a bunch of enemies, and then you get to a boss and just kind of rinse and repeat. This one, you're like climbing up a tower, so there's a bunch of levels.
It's an action RPG, turn-based. Action.
So yeah, not turn-based. Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess it qualifies an action RPG because, like I said, it's got the hack and slash element, and there are RPG elements in that. You do level up, and you have like very basic stats. It's like health and strength and defense and maybe one other thing, and then you have like an MP, like I guess magic points or whatever that's typically called in games. You have an MP bar.
Sir?
Yeah, I guess mana points, sure.
And it's like magic.
The magic word for magic, yeah. And it's kind of cool because your MP it recharges. So you use some and then it just recharges pretty quickly, actually. And depending on what moves you use, it uses a bigger chunk of it, and it takes some time to recharge, but it's like pretty quick. So it's real fast paced, which I like. I was just playing earlier today. I played for maybe 20 minutes because I'm at a boss that is. It's probably not that hard. I'm probably making it harder than it needs to be because I'm rushing through it. But I keep dying, so it keeps making me mad, and I just keep quitting. And then I went back to Monster Hunter after that. But it's fun. It's got a kind of an interesting story, and it's got Origin in the title. So I guess maybe the purpose of this one is to
Origin, the 9th game of a series.
Right, exactly, yeah. So I guess kind of is to give some background, and then also it's a good game for people to jump into. But I've seen footage of like other games in this series, and they're definitely like in the action RPG, like more modern looking, like 3D like games. At least the most recent iterations that I've seen. So it's kind of interesting that this one came out and it's a little bit more retro looking, but it's a lot of fun. So super fast paced. The art style is pretty cool. But yeah, I would recommend it, and hopefully I'll get past that boss that I'm on soon if I just take my time a little bit.
I have absolutely no faith in you.
Well, that's perfect. But other than that, on Switch, I've a bit into Pac-Man 99. I know you're a big fan.
Oh yes, there. Waka Waka Waka. Pac-Man 99 is my jam.
As they say.
As they say in the land of the Pac-Land. Yeah, Pac-Man 99 is a lot of fun. I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but basically, my favorite thing is the games are real quick, and it gets you into another game real quick. So it's real hard to put down once you start going.
Right. I played like 4 or 5 matches, and each one I was like to get a little bit better, and then of course I would like die at number 50 or something like that,
Yeah.
out of 99. So
Yeah.
that really kicks you down a little bit, but it is definitely addicting, and you can start another game really quick. And obviously everyone knows the Pac-Man formula and how you play that. So
Yeah.
it's got good music. It's real chaotic, and I like how you can pick up those little sprites of the ghosts, and it like adds to like the tail of the ghost that's going, and then you go and eat them all up. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah,
So it's fun.
big fan of the Waka.
Yeah, big fan of the Waka, the one slice of missing pizza. That's basically what he is, right? Just a big pizza with a slice missing.
I know I just mentioned it, but just to for the pick up and play thing I mentioned, like for example with Tetris 99, those games last a lot longer.
That's a grind.
So like when you get to the top 10 or whatever and you lose, you're probably like going on 10 minutes in there, and you're like your brain's fried from playing Tetris. With Pac-Man, we're talking 3-4 minutes a game sometimes to finish it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm gonna keep playing it. I bought the $15 modes purchase where you get like the time attack and the score attack, and I've been dabbling here and there in that.
Nice. Yeah, I'm considering. I need to play a little bit more. I guess it's free, but I'm considering doing putting a little bit of money into it, and if I'm with it.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else you've been playing?
Yeah, well, there's still a few. So also playing stuff on the Xbox Series S. I've got the Halo games, the Master Chief Collection downloaded. I'm playing through that with my good buddy Bird Dog Gaming. You guys go check him out.
Shout out to Bird Dog.
Shout out to Bird Dog.
We finished
I'm sure he appreciates that.
Oh, he will.
So we've gotten through Halo 1, and that was an experience for sure. It was a lot of fun. They've got at least for the first two games, Halo 1 and Halo 2, they've got kind of the anniversary editions of them, where they remastered them, and it's cool because you can hit I guess it's like the equivalent of the select button on the Xbox controller. I don't remember what that's called.
Yeah.
But you hit that, and you can just instantly toggle between old school graphics and the new graphics, and it's like it is a huge. Oh, absolutely, and it's even more impressive with Halo 2, which we're on now. Like I said, we finished Halo 1, did that on heroic difficulty, which is like the third of the 4 difficulties. The last one's legendary, and that's just
very honorable of you.
No, thank you. Yeah, so doing heroic. Halo 1 was a good time, and now we're playing Halo 2, and the goal is to get through all of them, and maybe even dabble in some of the Halo Wars games. I think there's 2 of those ahead of Halo Infinite coming out this year. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting through those. And it's nice to we're going to play them in order of release. So we're really going to be able to see the progression of quality. But on that note, Halo 2 looks really good. Like Halo 1 remastered or the anniversary looks good, but Halo 2 looks really good. Like the cutscenes are which I know that's not in-game stuff, but it's funny in the cutscene between the old graphics too, and that is
oh really
great.
Live in the cutscenes.
Yes, yeah. Which Halo 1 it didn't let me do that, but Halo 2 it's like a movie. It's it almost looks live action when they show the human characters. It's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so looking forward to playing through those and kind of in anticipation of Halo Infinite. It's going to be a good time. Also, put about maybe 25 to 30 hours into Forza Horizon 4. That game is really fun. It's different than what I was expecting. I just knew it was like Xbox's flagship racing game, right? And for a while now I've wanted to play a racing game. So I jumped into that one also on game. And it's not your typical racing game structure. There's not just choose this kind of race and just jump.
Isn't it like open world somewhat?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's really open. It's completely open. And there's
strange.
Yeah. And there's different markers throughout the map, and there's different categories of types of racing, like regular road races, and then dirt racing. There's they call them cross country, which is you're just going through hills and forests and stuff, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's little, I guess, call them story missions. They're it's really random stuff. There's some, I don't know if you've seen Top Gear, that show. There's stuff that's connected to Top Gear and other random things. They've got usually 10 or so chapters per each thing. And I've played a lot. I don't know what would necessarily qualify this game as finished for me, because there is a lot to do. But I've done I got through all the championships for different types of racing, and I've done a lot of the I don't know if you call them story missions. They're like isolated little, things. I don't know if I'm gonna do all of them, but
Yeah.
I put like 30 hours into it. It's a fun time. It's definitely high quality. The cars are cool. There's lots of variety in there, so I had a good time with that.
Yeah,
Um,
so for Forza, there's Horizon, which is like the open worldy
yeah,
arcade version. I think it's Motorsport is their like their
right,
sim series, I
right.
guess.
Yep, and that's something I don't think I want to dive
Yeah,
into. If it's really that like technical and like a sim, I'm not. I'm not really into that. I like more arcade style stuff. Like
yeah.
your Mario Karts and
Whoa, whoa,
that
whoa!
kind of thing.
Mario Kart's a sim. Mario Kart's a sim. It's a
Right,
Mushroom
you're right.
Kingdom
Oh
sim.
yeah, that is exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
I mean, when you got the
real
steering wheel and the foot pedals like me, it's basically a racing sim.
right. Yeah, you trying to reference? Didn't you? Did you not put out a video with that
I,
little
I
attachment?
put out a video of me playing a King Knight with
Ah, right.
the
Of
steering wheel and
course, the
that's it.
other flagship racing game on the Switch.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was just a little,
King Knight.
is it possible kind of thing. I beat the first level of King Knight
Right.
with a steering wheel. And
Oh
I'll
man.
let you know, spoil it here for those dedicated listeners, it is possible. So
Now you know. You heard
now
it
you
here
know, you
first.
don't have to Google it or find anywhere else. You can just take my word for
Oh, Daily Beaton did it first.
it.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
But so I just got a couple more, and again, like I dabbling some things. But I just started yesterday Final Fantasy 12, also on Xbox Game Pass.
You mean
And
Final
that
Fantasy X bar bar?
right, yes, that one. X vertical bar, vertical bar.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I just started that, and I can tell I'm probably gonna like this. It's like a high fantasy cross with sci-fi. Like it's got like both elements of both. Like there's like advanced technology, but also they use like swords, and they've got knight looking armor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to explain the story. I barely know what's going on. There's like a war going on, and you're a character caught in the middle. So I've only played like an hour of
Classic.
it, but yeah, it's got interesting combat. It's definitely reminiscent of. I say reminiscent came before the Xenoblade games, but it like the Xenoblade games, there's like this auto attacking feature, but also like you choose actions and it like pauses the game for you to choose an action, and then you go
Oh,
back
okay.
and you're auto attacking and stuff. So it's kind of a mix between different genres there in the RPG world, but I know I'm gonna like it because I've had experience playing Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2, so I think I'm gonna have a good time with it. But
Yeah.
that's another. I guess of what I'm playing, Monster Hunter is pretty comparable in size, but that's a beefy game there.
Yeah.
So, and other than that, I just finished the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War campaign, which
Yeah.
was I thought it was a good time. It's pretty short. Apparently, there's like 3 endings, which I did look up what they were. I got one of them,
Yeah.
obviously, and I had a good time with it. Some of the missions were fun. The weapons are, the guns are cool, and the story was pretty interesting. And it was my first Call of Duty campaign in some time. So I have not, bought or played a Call of Duty since probably, unless there was like a random game I played at like a party or something. I don't think
Yeah.
I've owned a Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 3.
Oh,
So
wow. That's going back.
yeah,
That's
yep,
PS3, Xbox 360.
yep.
Yeah,
So
I also just beat the Call of Duty Cold War campaign. No spoilers here, but for most of the game, it's Call of Duty campaign. I thought the little ending sequence was interesting. Nice little
yeah,
twist in the story. Thought it was
yep,
pretty. It was definitely if it was just a generic ending, it would have just been a generic ending, and I would have not talked about it.
right.
But it did a good job to keep my interest at the end there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
for most of the game, it was just Call of Duty
It was
campaign.
just your Call of Duty. Yeah, and I guess that's why. Like, I definitely had a good time. Played a Call of Duty in a while, so I was able to just appreciate it a little bit. I think it's funny playing that at the same time as Halo, like the early Halo games,
Yeah,
because you can't in Halo you can't run, you can't crouch and walk at the same time, at least in the early games. In
that's
the
so
Halo
goofy,
One,
man.
yeah, in Halo One you can't aim down sight except for like with very specific guns, like I think it's just the rocket launcher and the sniper rifle.
Yeah,
So it's just funny. It was funny going between games, where you're running around and sliding and jumping and all that stuff in Call of Duty, and then you're just kind of you can't. The running thing is what gets me because it's
you
like
just
you can get yourself in a really bad spot with enemies, and you're just gonna okay, I'm gonna
You gotta
walk
move
over
at
here
a nice
behind this
brisk
rock.
pace.
Yeah.
No matter the
Master
severity
Chief
of the
has
situation, I will move at this pace.
yeah, Master Chief has no sense of
I mean, the man's confident. I mean, he
he
knows
is
what he needs
he
to
is
do. So
that yeah, that he does. But yeah, that about wraps up what I'm playing. There's random multiplayer things in there like Smash and then Call of Duty on multiplayer online with friends. But as far as those other things I'm playing single player, that's about it. What about yourself?
cool. So yeah, for games we have in common, I'm also playing Pac-Man 99, like I mentioned. I'm enjoying that. I'm also playing Monster Hunter. I have not quite rolled credits on the story of the game. I guess what you
Yep.
want to call it. But I'm about 20 hours in. I'm having fun. I'm starting to. The beginning of the game was a bit of a slog for me because it's my first Monster Hunter, and it's very like in your face with like mechanics. It's just like
Yeah.
this. But I'm starting
Right.
to finally, get the train rolling and understand everything. So I've been enjoying it the last 10 hours more than the first hours, I guess. First 10 hours, I guess I would
Right.
say. But yeah,
Yep.
I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm looking forward to the post game content. Get into that.
For
Um,
sure. And it's funny that I guess it's technically post game because you like you roll credits, but
yeah, but it is
like
like the main game. It's like the
I
main
mean, yeah,
draw.
it's more. Well, I don't know like exactly how far it's going to go, but they're introducing new systems still. Like
Oh,
it's
of
like
course.
so of course they are right. Like it's a very complex game. I feel like right when I'm getting to know it, I hit the credits and I'm like, oh, okay, I really I do understand this game.
Yeah.
And then okay, here's another system, another upgrade thing, another equipment type deal that you need to kind of think about how you want to spec it out, and it's just it's funny. So
Yeah,
I don't know why
that's
they
what
rolled
gets me
credits.
is I like when a game tells me how to play and gives me like this is a new mechanic in my they're explaining it, but sometimes it's like you get to a thing and then the new mechanic comes up and it says like page 1 of 7. You're like, oh god, like
Yeah. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
about spent for the night. I can't read all of this, and if I do read it, I'm not gonna take it in.
Yep.
But you can always go back and read it.
Right.
I mean, Monster
Right.
Hunter's fun. Gonna keep playing it. Looking forward to see how that turns out. I'm also playing a game on Steam called Loop Hero. It's a Devolver Digital published game. I forget the developer. I think some Russian game development studio. I'll put it in the link or something, in the comments or something. Um, but the reason I got it on Steam is because it's not on Switch yet, which I think would be a fun Switch game. It's basically like a reverse roguelike. Like your character, there's a predetermined loop, hence the loop in Loop Hero. And your character, the hero, Loop Hero, he goes around
Wow.
this loop automatically, and like auto battles starts off you're like battling slimes and stuff. It's like a generic RPG enemies, and basically you get loot from killing the enemies, and you spec out your character, and then you get these cards you can play for the environment because the environment's blank. It's like a big empty void that the world has fallen into. And you basically you rebuild this world, and as you do that, more enemies show up, which makes the game harder. But then you get more loot because you're killing the harder enemies, and it's like basically you're balancing how hard you want to make the game for your character. So you want to make it hard, but not too hard, basically, and you want to get as
Right.
far as you can.
Risk reward.
Yeah, exactly. And the game does still scale up automatically. You can't just forever loop at the base like difficulty. It'll get hard automatically, but it really gets harder when you decide to make it harder.
Right.
I'm enjoying that game. I there's bosses basically like so like without spoiling anything. Basically like after a certain amount of time, a boss will show up and you beat the boss, whatever, and then you go back to your camp. There's a whole camp with like you can build buildings that help you in the runs that make you like basically permanent buffs.
Hmm.
And then you get a new boss you unlock. You can attempt that boss, and I don't know how many bosses there are. I'm on the third boss, and I've gotten to the boss a few times. I've not quite beaten that boss yet, but I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely going to beat that game. It's up my alley. It's a nice. It's another one of those nice hands-off games too, because like you can like stop the action completely, and
Right.
think if you want to. So you don't have to be very dexterous to play it. It's a thinking game, I
Right.
guess.
Right. Yeah, I
Um,
remember seeing that when I guess when the IGN put out a review, and I was really surprised that it was just a Steam game because I don't. It's pretty rare, and correct me if you think otherwise, but like I think it's rare that IGN will review or any other place will just review like and put out like and make it a big deal just a Steam game. You know,
Yeah.
that's normally you hear about some of these games. It's like, oh, in the Indie World Direct from Nintendo, it's getting ported over to Switch or whatever. But yeah, it's just interesting that this game it seems like has gotten a lot of attention. It's only on Steam.
Yeah, well,
So
you can chalk that up to Devolver Digital. They're a pretty goofy publisher, and I think they
yeah.
ran a what are they like Nintendo Direct ripoffs? I forget what they're called. But
I didn't know they had
basically,
that.
yeah, they have like a little like Nintendo Direct spoof, and this
Gotcha.
game Loop Hero was their self-proclaimed game of the year in that thing. so
Okay.
so they like they
Wow.
made people pay attention. And it's a good
Bold.
game. I think
Bold of
it'll
them.
do well on the Switch. I am not quite sure how it'll work because it's you use a mouse to select things and place them, so it'll probably be a little clunkier on the Switch, but they'll figure it out. They're smart people.
Yep.
Other game I'm replaying, I am replaying the Fire Emblem 7 on the Wii U, which is the first English localized Fire Emblem game that came out in the Game Boy Advance in like, I don't know, 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. Played it a long time ago. I never actually owned it. I borrowed it from a friend, but it's what introduced me to the Fire Emblem series, which is one of my favorite series. So, I was like, I can buy this on the Wii U now and just replay it because it's
Yep.
not on the Switch. So going through that, it's a good time. About, I don't know, a quarter of the way through it. I mean,
Nice.
it's fun.
You said that's Fire Emblem 7?
Fire Emblem 7, yes. Which is
How many
funny.
games are in that franchise?
If we're
'Cause, like,
talking numbered games, I think Three Houses is Fire Emblem 16. And then there's like
wow.
the Warriors game, which isn't a numbered game.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Fire Emblem 16. The first six were Japan only, and then I think 12 is Japan only. Because
First 6 Japan only. That's crazy.
yep, yep. And 7 is actually a prequel to 6, so it's funny. It's 6. The sequel to 6 is a prequel to 6, which is pretty funny. And
Right, right.
also 6
Yeah.
was not localized, so they presented 7 as a brand new game for the Western audiences, but it's actually a prequel
Yeah.
to a game in Japan. It's very strange, but
Yep.
the games are worldwide now, so we don't have to worry about that.
That they are. Three Houses at the very least. I mean,
Yeah,
really got, different people to play that game. So
yeah,
you get into that series. So, and, obviously Super Smash Bros. Done a heck of a job getting the characters in front of people because they've got the whole roster in the fighter list. So,
yep. And also, I guess I am technically still playing the Fire Emblem 1 English
ah,
localization, but I've kind of trailed off of that one. I don't know, 15 hours into that, halfway through the game. I played the remake before on the DS. I don't feel the urge like I have to beat this game on the Switch, but I'm going to. I mean, it's still
yeah,
it's aged, but there's some good quality of life in there, save
right.
states and stuff built in. So if you want to trudge through it, you can. But if you do not have that game, you cannot buy it. So if you do have it, congratulations. If you do not, I'm sorry for your loss.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, it was executed along with Mario publicly
Right, right.
a short time ago.
Yes. Not but 2 weeks ago. We say goodbye to them.
Cool. So, Sir Lumber, we just talked about the games we're playing, but let's talk about the games that we want to play or want to go back to. We're some serious gamers, so we play a lot of games, but
I like to think
we,
so.
like every other mortal human, have a limited time in the day. We cannot play everything. So,
Right.
we got a few games here, at least I do, a few games that either games I haven't played before or games I want to go back to that I enjoy. You know,
Yeah.
so anything you have written down for that? Any games coming?
Yeah. So I got a few things. The first thing I want to talk about, just because I might have, I think what got me thinking about this was I watched just in a rabbit hole on YouTube. I found the
I love those
completionist
rabbit
video.
holes.
Yeah, I found a completionist video for, and when I say completionist, I mean the completionist. That
The
boy.
completionist. Yes.
His video for God of War 2018, the PS4 big reboot of the series. An awesome game, which I did play back in 2018, and it was an awesome time. I only went through it once, and I feel like for a game like that, I would have normally gone through it multiple times. I played the other God of Wars in the series multiple times. At least some of the mainline ones I played several times, and that game was just incredible. Probably the game of the year for me in 2018. Really good. So I do want to go back and play that. And for those who don't know, PS5 got, or I guess God of War got an update for PS5. I guess they brought up the frame rate, and then they kind of did some high tech whatever with the resolution and
Yeah.
probably some ray tracing and all kinds of stuff. The game already looked incredible, and ran really great, at least from my experience. And I think I played it originally on like a base PS4, but yeah, so they've just made it even better, for the PS5 patch. So I'd really like to go back and play that. And as you heard from my list of games that I'm playing right now, I really don't have a whole lot that I'm actively playing right now on PS5. Now there are stuff that I could be playing, but it's just kind of one of those things. Like you said, only have so much time in the day, and I've recently prioritized Switch and Xbox recently. But in the past it was flipped. PS5, would be, or PS4 would be the priority there. But I do want to go back and play God of.
Yeah, I was actually going to go back and play that as well. But when I had the thought to do it, to go download it, the update wasn't live yet, and then I lost Steam. I forgot about it. But yeah, I need to go back and try that out too.
Yep. Yeah. So just the other day, I went and I plugged it in, or put the disc in the PS5 and got the update installed and all that good stuff. And I'm like trophy short of the platinum in that game, and basically I'll try to not be as I'll try to avoid spoilers, because since it did just get an update, maybe that'll bring new fans into that game.
Sure.
But there is a very difficult boss in that game, which I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And I guess let me ask you, do you know what I'm talking about? What boss?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So there is a very difficult boss that I had never beaten, and it is linked to a trophy. And I just the other day, after I installed the update, I went and I was like, okay, let me see if I stay. Turns out I do not. So that boss is very difficult. He even knocked it down to the easiest difficulty, and I kept dying. So
I can't believe they put Donkey Kong in that game. It's wild that they would cross over like that.
Crazy.
Yeah, the Donkey Kong fight is pretty difficult. I had to.
Yeah, and he's like he's got horns and stuff.
It's terrifying. It is terrifying.
Yeah, it's hard. He's like a demon. But yeah. So I tried to go play it again, and the thing is, my plan for replaying that game would be to start a new game plus, because I think that'd be fun to keep all of the stuff that I'd earned rather than start from scratch. So I'd probably start a new game plus, but I don't want to have to try and do that boss on new game plus. So I was seeing if maybe I could just I'll grind a little bit. Yeah, if I get out of the way, and then I'll get that trophy, and then I have 2 more, and then I'll get the platinum. So but yeah, I want to get back into God of War, and that would be a good thing on PlayStation to play. But we'll see how it goes. Other than that, I think that something that always sits on my radar and it's old reliable. I've already put about a little bit less than 300 hours into it. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, I've got that on here too. I need to go back and play that again.
Yeah, I would love to go back and play that game. I put, I don't know, probably 150 to 200 hours into my main save file, and then I did start a master mode save file, and I think I've gotten maybe 3 of the divine beasts, and then so there's not a whole lot left. So I don't know what my plan would be when I actually do go back and play it. Would I just finish that out, or kind of in anticipation for Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever it's going to be called, whenever that comes out? I think that's probably when I would dive back into that. But that's kind of always sitting out there. Is just that's probably it's always just sitting out there as a game that I know I can go back to and just have a great time. A couple other things.
I was going to say on Breath of the Wild, I'm not sure when I do go back and play that. I'm trying to decide if I want to, go back and, because I think I finished Master Mode, but I didn't 100% it as far as shrines. I don't know if I want to go back and start a new Master Mode save, or if I want to just get all the shrines in Master Mode, since I never did that. But I can't wait to go back and play that. But there's just so much other stuff in my plate. It's like, should I put another 50, 60 hours in this game that I have hundreds of hours in? I don't know.
And you could, and it's just like that. It would derail everything. It's just because that's what happened when I played it all those hours. I didn't play anything else. So that's kind of the decision that you have to make.
Speaking of putting 50, 60 hours into a game, I've already have hundreds of hours in. I do want to play Fire Emblem Three Houses again. I've only beat that game 7 times. I need to make it.
Say that one more time. I missed that. You kind of cut out.
I said, speaking of games that I need to put 60 more hours in that I've put hundreds of hours in already. I need to go back and beat Fire Emblem Three Houses again. I've only got 7 clears. I need to beat it, an 8th time to really feel a nice round number.
Right.
The Ocho run.
Just round it up. Just beat it 10 times.
You're right. I could just beat it just 3 more times. No big deal.
Yeah. For sure. I hope that's not on.
I mean, it's always kind of jokingly there. It's my comfort food game.
Fair enough. Well, I'll just mention a couple for the sake of time here. I did recently pick up Persona 5 Royal
Hmm.
on PlayStation. So I guess the way I'm approaching this category is games that I've either played and finished, and I would love to go back to, or games that I have started and just kind of fell off.
Yeah.
So Persona 5 is one of those games that obviously it's critically acclaimed and it is very good. It's got really good writing. It's a very interesting story. I guess I bought it and then got kind of overwhelmed with things, but it wasn't immediately something that grasped me just because I didn't expect there to be so much like dialogue, and there's a lot of like time management stuff in it, and the battling, the battle system is like other turn-based RPGs. You have a team of like 4 characters, and you choose moves and fight and stuff. So it's classic in that sense. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff in between those moments, and I think that kind of you know I wanted to jump to something else. I started playing that just because it wasn't what I was looking for at the time. So yeah, it is a lot, and it's just again, it's like a you're like living the life of a student. It's all crazy otherworldly stuff in the game, but yeah, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. Yeah, I wanted more of a classic turn-based RPG, and it is that, but there's a lot else. There's a lot of other stuff to it.
Yeah.
So I would like to jump back into that at some point, and we'll see if if God of War jumps in front of it. Well, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
But the last one I want to mention, just as kind of a joke, because I think you'll appreciate this, I do own Skyrim for the Switch.
Ah, yes.
And I put at least 50 hours into that game, and I probably did not scratch the surface. I don't remember where exactly I ended up in that story, but I think it's one of those games that go back and play. It's a great time. It's probably aged a little bit, but it's a good time.
It's on your Xbox now with the Game Pass, and I'm pretty sure they updated it where it's like 60 frames and all that.
Huh. So. That may turn into games I need to play on Xbox rather than games on Switch.
Yeah.
I doubt this exists, but it would be cool if there was some kind of cross save, functionality or whatever.
Yeah.
Where
no shot.
I know, and I guess the one draw that the Switch has is I did play it quite a bit portably, surprisingly, and I had a good time with it. But also there's like little Nintendo things, like there's some Breath of the Wild gear and stuff thrown in there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a draw, but also
the Master Sword's in there, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I never got it, but there's like the Champion's Tunic and probably the Hylian Shield and the Master Sword. I never got any of that stuff, but I know it's there, so that may draw me to the Switch. We'll see.
Fun fact: if you want even more to draw you in there, there's a secret, Easter egg weapon, Minecraft pickaxe. You can find at the top of a mountain.
Oh, so, fantastic!
Yeah, it's a little Easter egg. It doesn't look like a Minecraft pickaxe, but it's a pickaxe named after Minecraft. So, just keep that in mind.
Gotcha. I will keep that in mind. And you're saying is that in every?
Yeah, it's just in base Skyrim. It's just in like.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I know you're a big Minecraft guy, so.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, we could talk about that some other time, but not my cup of tea there. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future I'll be drawn into Minecraft. But yeah, that's basically my kind of list of things I'd like to go play again, or restart. Things that I never finished. Just a few things there. What about you?
Yeah, so I've got other than ones I already mentioned. There's 2. Mine is kind of not really a game thing, but like a series thing. I want to go back and play more games in these series because I know I like them. The first one is Halo. I played a lot of multiplayer Halo with friends back in the day, but I've never played any of the campaigns. And now that I have access to Game Pass, I want to go back on the Master Chief Collection as well in preparation for Halo Infinite, which looks really fun.
Yep.
So I want to go back and beat those campaigns. Not much else to say on that. Basically, just run through. I guess it's the first 5 games. I might do Reach. I don't know.
Right.
And the other one is the Final Fantasy series. I know it's like those games were right up my alley for the most part, but I just missed them growing up. I didn't like. They just weren't on my radar, I guess. But
same here.
Since then, I've played. I have played Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and I played Final Fantasy 15. And I did download Final Fantasy 9 on Game Pass. I want to try that out. Really better educate myself on the series, I guess.
Now, is that one critically acclaimed? Like, is that
I don't know. If you ask people what their favorite Final Fantasy is, everyone gives a different answer. But I've heard 9 thrown around a lot. I'm not even sure which form of gameplay that one has, to be honest, because I know they kind of mess around with turn-based and live. Then they have the Xenoblade kind of gameplay. Then they have the live combat. So I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. Also, I'm trying to I'm hunting down a Game Boy Advance cart for Final Fantasy VI, which I know I've heard is a very good game, and it's not available on like anything because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Nintendo has some publishing rights to that a game because it was on the SNES and I think they published it. So you can't just download that one on Game Pass. They don't
Oh,
have
so it
that.
was on the SNES, and then they ported it to Game Boy
Game
as well.
Game Boy Advance, yes. I want the Game Boy Advance
Nice.
cart to play when I get my analog pocket.
Yeah, well, maybe
Um,
they'll add that to the SNES Nintendo Switch Online.
you know, I don't quote me on this. But I'm pretty sure it's on the SNES Classic. There's a couple games
Oh,
on the
really?
SNES Classic that are not on the Nintendo Switch
Ah,
Online service. For
dang.
example, like Mario Party or Mario RPG is on the SNES
Oh
Classic.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
pretty sure Final Fantasy VI is also on there.
Did
Um,
Square Enix have anything to do, or maybe it was SquareSoft back in the day? Did they have anything to do with the Mario RPG
yeah,
Nintendo,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
they did?
That
Oh,
is
okay.
that is a SquareSoft develop. I think it's
Oh,
either
okay.
developed or co-developed with Square. Square's definitely involved in that. It was like published by
Gotcha.
Nintendo. So
Cool.
yeah, I want to play both those games, but the one I'm trying to get more of the Final Fantasy series. I want to go back and play
Yeah.
Fantasy VI on the Game Boy
You know,
Advance.
there's a lot of RPGs like that that I would, really like to, be a little bit more into.
Yeah,
And Final Fantasy is definitely one of those. But then there's like Dragon Quest,
yeah.
that always
Drawquay,
has. What was that?
Drawquay.
Drawquay. Yeah. So that's a like I talked about East series, and I think it's more of an action RPG. But still, it's got a ton of games. Like there's a lot of series like that that have like 10, 15 games. And that I just kind of completely missed. And maybe as a kid, I just wasn't as into the turn-based stuff outside of like Pokemon or
It might not
something.
have been as well
Um,
marketed, and you were a kid, so you
and
didn't
that's
find it
true.
as much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Well, cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so we just finished talking about the games we've been playing and games we want to play. Now let's transition talking about some of the best games we've played, this year or late last year, for the Game of the Year check-in. You cool with that?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah. So, it's still April when we're recording this, so a lot of the big, heavy hitters aren't out yet or haven't even been revealed to us yet. But there's still some good games from early in the year that we've dabbled in. I personally have played a lot of older games this year, but I do have a handful of games that I would consider early year Game of the Year worthy. Um, do you have anything that comes to mind for yourself?
Yeah, so I guess it depends on how you consider it. So if we talk about games that I played late last year into this year, and maybe stuff that wasn't quite in the running based on the release date timing for the Game Awards and that, in that category, I've played a few. So you say you've played a lot of older games. I actually haven't played that many older games this year. Probably about half the games that I guess, call it completed this year. Were games that either come out this year or late last year. And some of my my favorites. I played a lot of Ubisoft recently.
Yeah, yeah.
Played Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is a goofy name for a really good game. I think it's really solid.
I wish they could have stuck with Gods and Monsters. I wish that would have.
That is so. It's a way better name.
Yeah,
That game, it flows nicely, and I like it. It's funny because I think they had some kind of licensing issues with that, but
yeah, yeah,
there's definitely a mission in Immortals that is just titled Gods and Monsters, so it's like a little callback to that, I guess.
yeah.
But that game it was really good. I probably put 50 or 60 hours into it, just because it's just what I do. I like to really funnel a lot of time into games that are kind of big open world RPG type games. But yeah, the game was definitely like heavily inspired by Breath of the Wild, but it does its own thing too. I'm a sucker for Greek mythology, and obviously that's what it's all about. The combat's really fun. It's a really simple like upgrade system for weapons. You have like three weapons. You have like a sword, an axe, and then a bow, and then certain power ups and like god abilities, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. The other Ubisoft game I played just recently finished was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now I've stuck around with the Assassin's Creed series basically since it started. I missed a few around, I guess, right after Assassin's Creed Unity. I never finished Unity, and then I skipped like the next two. I think it was like Syndicate and Origins. But I did play Odyssey, which I liked a lot, and then I played Valhalla.
Yeah.
Just finished it a couple weeks ago. And it was good. I think now I struggled towards the end of it just because I wanted to get to other things, and it was
Yeah.
kind of dragging on. It felt like now
I
if it
heard
was
that one
literally
never
the only
ends.
thing, yeah, I mean it definitely feels like it. And it's funny because you look at the map and then you compare it to like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you're like, oh, it's smaller. It's probably not going to take as much time, but somehow they pack a lot there, and
Is it
there's a
just like
ton
a
to
real
do.
dense map, or is it just
Very dense,
very
yeah,
dense?
and I think it's just deceiving, like the amount of activities in each region of England, because it's
Yeah.
not even like all of England; it's just like half of the island. I may be misstating that, but it didn't look like all of Great Britain,
Yeah.
just like the main regions from that time. And there's just a lot to do. There's like pretty expansive arcs in each, like story arcs in each region. So it was fun. I liked it. It's really just the same Assassin's Creed formula that doesn't, change a whole lot. Especially, I mean, just with the loop of going to a checkpoint, revealing a bunch of stuff, and then going doing side quests and the main story and all that stuff. It's kind of the same loop, but I had a good time with that.
Yeah,
Um,
Assassin's Creed is one of those series that I always enjoy when I play it, but for some reason it just doesn't. I don't feel the need like I have to play it every year. Like I
right,
know they're quality games, especially the last two. I know Odyssey was very highly regarded, so I
definitely
should go
really
back and
good.
play that one. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you have to know what you're getting into as
Yeah,
well, and
maybe I
you
do know what I'm
know,
getting into, and that's why it's subconsciously
yeah,
sitting back on the
exactly.
back burner.
Yeah, and I think you and I are similar in that regard that we want to kind of do everything we can, while we're playing it. And that game, I mean, I got the platinum for Assassin's Creed Odyssey without even seeing all of the regions in
That's
the
so
game.
weird.
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, they didn't. They of course it's a different time period. There's different weapons and other systems that they introduce, and they kind of, in my mind, it reminded me of. Ghost of Tsushima, because they don't you know lead you down a certain path. The markers on the map aren't. It's not explicitly clear what you're going
yeah,
after. They're just
yeah.
kind of you know what they are based on the color of the marker, but that they fit into a certain category. But you don't know exactly what you're going to get until you get there. So it's kind of that kind of open-ended, like exploration focused, like Ghost of Tsushima was,
No, is this
which is kind
Odyssey
of
or
kind of cool.
Valhalla?
Oh, sorry, Valhalla.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
Valhalla was like that. No,
Yeah,
Odyssey was more of your classic open world
gotcha,
formula.
gotcha.
Um, but yeah, so I mentioned those two games because they came out, later last year. The other two games I want to mention are both of the Spider-Man games that came out last year, the remaster
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
original, and then Miles Morales. So if we're talking about, and I'll mention one more, but if we're talking about games that came out late last year, that maybe weren't in the running for Game of the Year, those are kind of ones I want to focus on, as far as that kind of choice. And then I could talk about other games that I played this year that I would say was maybe the best experience that I had
Yeah,
in a game this year. And
yeah.
the one I'll probably talk about is a few years old. But the two Spider-Man games, I played them basically back to back.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I had played Spider-Man PS4 on the PS4 back in the day, but I replayed the remaster, and I never played the DLC, so I played through all the DLC. Got the platinum again because I'm crazy. I didn't
It's
need
funny
to do
there's
that, but I
two,
did it.
it's a separate platinum, huh? It gives you two of them.
Yeah,
Or
I
not two
think
of
there
them,
is
but
a
the old one gives you one, and then the remaster gives you a
yeah.
separate one.
Yeah, and I think there might have been a way to like sync your old saves, but I don't know if that gave you the trophy progression because, as you know,
Ooh,
there was like
that'd be
there was
hilarious. Just
different
click
trophies.
click the
Yeah,
button and get just click
just
for platinum.
all the trophies start popping.
Yeah,
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 but if I remember correctly, there was different trophies in the remaster. Like there was new
yeah,
trophies, I should say. So
yeah,
yeah, but I played through that, and then I went straight into Miles Morales. Got the platinum for that because, again, crazy.
yeah.
It was a lot of Spider-Man. Miles Morales was really fun though. It's hard to kind of give the edge to one of those, but I guess Spider-Man Remastered is really out of the running. So
Yeah.
um, that one's up there as far as a contender goes. But Miles Morales is really fun. It's a smaller experience, shorter story,
Yeah.
but it's more condensed in every way. Really, the same kind of fluid, traversal as Spider-Man, but there's not as many like power-ups and armor, suits and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The other one I'll mention though. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of people say that Miles Morales feels like a DLC for the original game.
A
Well, I
little
wouldn't
bit.
quite. I mean, it's like it's in that like gray area where
Yeah.
to get into the weeds. I wouldn't call it a DLC, but I would more call it an expansion. It's its own
Yeah.
game. It feels substantial enough for it to be its own game, but it definitely. I mean, it's the same map for the most part. I mean, I'm sure they updated
Yep.
some areas, but it's the same map.
Yeah.
Same basic gameplay. It
Right.
feels like Spider-Man 1.5.
Definitely. It just feels like more Spider-Man, and that's not
Yeah,
necessarily a bad thing.
yeah,
But it does make me curious about, okay, this wasn't a Peter Parker story, so they're going to come back to that eventually, right? What is that next story going to be, and what is it going to do from a gameplay perspective,
yeah.
and to really change
Maybe play
things
as
up?
both of
Because
them. You know.
I mean, that would be cool.
Yep.
That would actually be kind of cool. And then I would expect some new map because we can't go through Manhattan a third time. Like, can't do that. I
But
think
you
everyone.
can.
Well, you can, but maybe you
Yeah,
shan't.
that's a good point when you have like reusing a map a third time, it might be pushing it, even if
Yeah.
no matter what you do.
But I'll give credit to Insomniac. They've done a really good job with that.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got a plan. They've been thinking about
Yeah,
this more than we have.
right. That's why I'm not the one making the video games.
Yeah.
But because it's one of those things that's tough because Spider-Man is like synonymous with New York and all the tall buildings because that's what makes his traversal so useful. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah, I heard rumors that the next game's going to take place in Kansas. It's going to be a bunch of open fields, and he's going to be real.
He's just sprinting.
He's going to be running around like a madman.
Get the Spider-Mobile and
Yeah.
just gotta drive everywhere. Yeah. So we'll see. So Miles Morales is really good. I guess technically I would have to give the edge over the original just because in a game of the year perspective, because Spider-Man Remastered was just the same game from, what was it, 2018?
Yep.
So, yeah, the other game I want to mention, though, as far as in that kind of category, Demon Souls PS5, which I think I mentioned it just for the sake of completeness here because it did come out late last year. But I think I would still give Miles Morales the edge over that one because Demon Souls, while I did enjoy it a lot, I had already played. So I never played the original Demon Souls. I had played Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and I'll mention Sekiro. That's one of my favorite games, but it's way different. But you go back to Demon Souls, even with this beautiful remaster that what's Blue Point? Is that the name of the company? Even with it being as good looking as it is, it's still a much simpler game.
Yeah, it's very faithful to a PS3 game. So
yes, very much so. And I think that game, it's funny, like it's like the levels themselves are. I'm sure you've heard people say this are the real challenge. You get to the boss, and most of them were kind of a joke.
Yeah, that was my main complaint with that game. Because I've also played. I played Dark Souls 3, played Bloodborne. The bosses in Demon Souls, a lot of them are pretty gimmicky. And overall, I would say there's like two or three bosses that are a good challenge.
Right.
And that may just be me not to like toot my horn, but maybe as an experienced FromSoft player. But a lot of the bosses had like a big central gimmick that once you found out the gimmick, the boss itself was pretty easy to take down. But that game was beautiful. It showed off. I got it launched there, the PS5. It showed off the graphics. It showed off the performance. The load times were insane.
Ridiculous, right? Like 6
so
seconds.
Good. I'm still. I almost feel like they put in the load time just so it wasn't jarring, so you don't just like automatically teleport.
Oh, right. Like it could have done it faster.
I would say it's definitely not as my favorite FromSoft game, but I did enjoy it a lot. It was about as good as a game from that era probably could be.
Right.
In this
and
time.
It kicked off the series. It kicked off what we know to be the Souls formula, right?
Yeah.
Those games. And so I respect it a lot for that. And I had a good time, and I'll probably go back and play it at some point because those games I always end up playing multiple times. It's just how it goes.
If they made Dark Souls 3, same basic idea, but with Dark Souls 3, I would be all over that.
Right, like kind of a big remake or remaster. Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, that's a game that I've played through. I mean, at least 3 times, and I would definitely play that game again. Dark Souls 3 was my first venture into. Well, no, actually, Bloodborne was, but Dark Souls 3 I was still pretty fresh to that whole thing, and it was totally different from Bloodborne because it's way more fast paced in Bloodborne. But if they put out something like that, a Dark Souls 3 remake, or even like some crazy Dark Souls 1 remake, like that would be really cool. Probably wouldn't see something like that for a while, but
I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, but so I guess if we're looking at like true game of the year,
2021.
2021 that counts late last year. I guess I'm now forgetting, but I'll mention it. The only other game that I played in calendar year 2021 that came out this year was Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and that was really fun.
Yep.
Bowser's Fury was a whole lot of fun. It didn't even take me long to fully complete that. You got all the cat shines everywhere, and there was like 100 of them, and it didn't even take me that long to complete. And it was a really good time. 3D World I'd never played. I never owned a Wii U, so it was good to be able to jump into that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And it became kind of a slog at the end, I'll admit, and I have no shame in admitting that I used some of the amiibo power-ups to get me through some stuff, because there was some hard levels.
That shiny cat bell power-up is like lifesaver.
Yeah. And I'm not a completionist in the sense that I need all 5 like shiny stars on my save file and all that stuff, but I know you did it. So.
I did do that. But I cheated. I used I synced 4 controllers in, and I turned them on at the goal pole and got
you do what you got to do.
Completion. Yeah. That game was a lot of fun. That is, to spoil it real quick, that is my current 2021 game of the year.
Nice.
I'm sure that'll change later in the year, but yeah, that game is a lot of fun. It's a lot of variety in 3D World with the levels and the backgrounds and everything. But like you said, the end of the game doesn't end. It keeps going, and I can't complain about that, because I'm sure they weren't expecting me to sit there. They weren't telling me to sit there and play the game,
no.
Finish all of it right now.
They rarely are.
Yeah. But if you are trying to do that, sit down and do all of it right then and there, it might get a bit of a slog at the end. And those last levels are no joke, especially if you want to get all the collectibles. But Bowser's Fury was a lot of fun. It wasn't quite as polished as something like Odyssey. But I did love it was. You were in the world. There was no loading. Like, you were in that.
Yeah.
It was like an open world Mario game.
All 100, shines are available to you, like in the world that you can see. You can go straight to them. No loading times or anything. Yeah.
All the other 3D Marios, like even Odyssey, you're still in a crafted, a smaller world. It might, some of them are pretty big, but it's not the whole game. That was also a lot of fun, and especially moving with what's it, Plessy?
Plessy, yeah, that was fun.
That boy.
Yeah. That boy.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed Bowser's Fury a lot. It was like the perfect length of where I still felt like I got some some enjoyment out of it. And I could grind out some harder shines, but it also wasn't like absurdly long. I think you could 100%.
No, I was gonna say that
5 to 8 hours maybe.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's what I was gonna say. That Bowser's Fury thing, like, so I'm not a big platformer guy, but that one, like, it didn't stay too long. Like, I could have dealt with more too, and I would have been happy to play more.
For sure.
It was a really good time. So it's like, it's the closest I've come to Odyssey as far as platformers are concerned, because I mean, Super Mario Odyssey was just awesome, and I 100% that one. So that was the closest experience I've had to that in a platforming sense, if I'm not forgetting anything. The Bowser's Fury was really good. But even with that said, if I have to make a game of the year, statement right now, and it's considering games that weren't up for the running, in 2020, I think I would still hand it to Miles Morales, because it's just more of my kind of game, and it was really fun. I liked the different power-ups they gave Miles, with his Venom abilities, his electricity stuff. It was a compact experience, but it was really fun. I did enjoy that. And then, like I said, I was going to answer this question in 2 ways. So the next thing I'll talk about will be the last thing, just because as far as games that I have played this year, just any games, whether they came out this calendar year last or several years before, I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for the first time this year. Nice. That is probably my favorite gaming experience that I've had this year. If it came out this year, it would be my leader. I kind of mentioned it earlier, comparing it to Final Fantasy 12. It's got the that auto attacking, and it's real focused on positioning with your character. There's way too much to explain about that. I would just suggest whoever is interested in Xenoblade series.
That was what that game. I've always been interested in Xenoblade, but when they first introduced that game, it was at E3. I don't know, I'm making it up. 2018, maybe E3 2018.
It was probably 2016 because it came out in 2017.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, apologies. But anyway, when they first revealed it, they revealed it with like a 15-20 minute like deep dive gameplay segment where they were like getting in the weeds, and it was like
Yep.
it was like, come on, like you're not.
That's not the best way to show
Yeah,
it off.
that's what
I
I'm
would
saying.
say.
Like that's what
Yeah.
initially like it almost seemed like a slog. They like presented it
Yes.
as a slog.
Yeah. It's overwhelming for
Yeah,
sure. But just like something like, we were talking about Monster Hunter, and there's so much information thrown at you. Once you just keep doing it, get in the loop, and get used to it, I've played many games like that. I just recently played Xenoblade Chronicles 1, the definitive edition that released on Switch. Was that last year, or was that the year before? I
I
don't even
think it
remember when
was
that came
last year,
out.
last May maybe.
Yeah, So I definitely played it last year, and so I was just coming off the heels of that, and so I was used to the systems from a combat perspective, and then there was just kind of all the new stuff that they throw at you. But I got in the swing of it really quick, and I had a really good time. I put like definitely over 100 hours into it,
Yeah.
and I would still like to eventually play the DLC, and we'll talk a little bit about that probably
No,
later. Uh,
you,
Go
you
ahead.
you briefly mentioned Monster Hunter there. How do
Yeah.
you feel about Monster Hunter as a possible game of the year for this year?
Yeah, it's really fun. Maybe I'll like honestly, I am having a really good time with it, and I think I'll make more of a definitive statement on that once I've
Finished
gotten
it?
through
Yeah.
more. Yeah, once I finish it. That's why I guess I didn't include it for this because I haven't finished it.
Yeah, I
Until
haven't either. I did actually
yeah,
didn't have it on mine either, but you mentioned it. It just came. I
yeah.
forgot we hadn't even.
Honestly, I'm glad you you brought that up because that did come out this year. I don't know why
Yeah,
I didn't think of that,
yeah. I didn't
but
either
yeah, as
until you
far as
said it.
games, yeah, as far as games I've finished, I think that Miles Morales would probably take it, but Monster Hunter might overcome it because it's all about that min maxing and specking your character out, and I do like that game a lot. But yeah, as far as favorite gaming experience this year, probably Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah,
I wish I had uh, been more into the series when that game came out. I got so into it when I played Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I was last year. I was like, okay, I got to find a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is harder than you might think
yeah,
to
yeah.
find.
I,
I
I,
had
I
to
ran
buy
into
it.
that same
Yeah,
problem when I was thinking about
yeah.
playing it.
Yeah, so last year, so I bought Xenoblade Chronicles 2 last year, but I didn't end up playing it until this year. But I found it on eBay. I think it was marked up a bit. I bought it for like $65 or $70, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I really want to play this game because I enjoyed the first one so much. And then I even went and tried to find the Pro Controller, the Special Edition Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Pro Controller, which I did. And that one I don't think I bought marked up, but I had to buy the Japanese version of it, which is fine. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just on the box. Which
yeah.
honestly, I think that kind of the Japanese like writing and all that stuff. It looks cool.
Looks cooler.
So and the controller obviously looks the same.
Yeah,
So I did find that. So now I have like both the games and the controller, and I'm fully into the Xenoblade series, and I have some hopes for that series too that we can talk about later.
yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That's what I'd give it. Yeah.
One more game. This isn't my. It's already out of the running for my quote unquote game of the year.
Yeah.
But one more really good game I played this year. I thought I'd shout out was Cyber Shadow. It's
Oh yeah.
It's published by Yacht Club Games, which is people that did Shovel Knight, but it's developed by I believe it's called Mechanical Head Studios, which I'm pretty sure that's just one guy. Um,
I think you're right about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that game is a lot of fun. It's like a real classic, pixel art platformer, action platformer, a la Ninja Gaiden or something like that.
Yeah.
It's the gameplay was surprisingly smooth. Like a lot of these pixel art, like for example Shovel Knight. I love Shovel Knight, but it's not quite as smooth as you'd want it to be. It still has a little
Right.
bit of like the jerky jumping movements and things like that. But
Like
Cyber
retro
Shadow,
games.
exactly. But Cyber Shadow is like surprisingly smooth. You move around like you would want a current game to move around. The music is really good. Gameplay was fun. It's definitely a hard game, and the difficulty always was somewhere between like rewarding, like I finally beat this section, to just frustrating, annoying. It rode that fine line. It was on both sides of that line multiple times, but
Right.
it's weird. It's like it's presented in a level based format where you pick Act 1, Act 2, up to however many acts there are, but it's all one connected map, almost like a Metroidvania that you can go back and explore. But basically, there's fast travel points to the beginning of each chapter.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like a
That's
level.
kind of weird.
It's level based in that sense, but it's all connected.
Interesting.
But yeah,
Okay.
that game's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did like Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury more, but I
Yeah.
thought I'd shout that game out.
Yep.
And
Cool.
like I said, it's April, so that's our list of game of the year candidates so far. But there's a lot to look forward to, or presumably a lot to look forward to the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think so.
yeah. So let's hop into that. What we think about what's going to happen
Sweet.
with the big platform holders. PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, or maybe some other big third-party games that could be coming out soon. I think the quickest one to talk about, I think there's a demo dropping, as we're recording this actually, is Resident Evil Village. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that game looks like it's gonna be a good time.
I think so. And I haven't I actually haven't played any Resident Evil game. I have watched playthroughs of several of them. I've seen I think the first one I've seen a playthrough of it. I've seen the Resident Evil 2 remake and
Yeah,
Resident Evil 3
yeah.
remake. I've watched playthroughs of those. Resident Evil 7, I watched a playthrough of that.
I've
And
played
so,
seven, and
oh, you
that's my
have played 7.
limited. I played it with a friend. We've like couch
Gotcha.
co-op, share controller
That's
kind
a
of
probably
thing.
a good way to play it.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my only real experience playing Resident Evil. But
Yeah.
this one,
Well,
I've
and
always.
that the
I was gonna
sorry,
say
go ahead.
this is another one. It's another one of those series that while I haven't got into it, personally, it's always been on my radar. That I
For
need
sure.
need to play it for my video game honor. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I'm thinking I might drop into Village, especially since there's not a whole lot other big third party titles hitting right now.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm really considering buying that one, and I'm not the biggest survival horror guy. Um, I just never have been. It's just not. I feel like those are very stressful experiences. So
Yeah, yeah,
this one, and
by design.
I'm gonna play the yeah, definitely by design. But in this one, I'm gonna check out the demo. What I've seen of the game so far looks really cool. I like the setting. It's got this big castle, and the kind of that real like Dracula-esque setting, and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you know what I mean. So it does look really interesting. And I was gonna say about Resident Evil 7. I believe it's the same protagonist that was in 7 is now coming back in Village.
yeah.
And since I've seen the playthrough of 7, I'll be comfortable, I think, probably with the story and stuff like that. I know what happened in the last game, so I know there's lots of other, backstory things that I'm probably not aware of in the Resident Evil franchise. But
The lore, as it
yeah,
may.
and the lore, right? But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think that's going to be a good time. And like you said, we're kind of in this limbo right now, where that's probably the biggest thing coming out for the next couple months. Aside from some other stuff that I do have written down.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna say. So I was gonna hit some of the bigger, the big platform
go for
holders.
it.
So for PlayStation, the most obvious one for me that I'm excited for is Ratchet and Clank. I think that's June.
Oh yeah,
Really, I'm a big Ratchet and Clank guy. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. That'll be the first. Well, actually, Returnal will be the first
yeah,
party. I believe I
yeah.
read that Returnal is the first party PlayStation 5 exclusive that is not a remake. Because I think right now Demon Souls is
That
the only
sounds
first
right to
party
me.
exclusive because
Yeah,
Miles Morales is on the PS4. Um,
right,
and I think Returnal is the first true one. Then I guess Ratchet and Clank would be the one to follow up that. And I'm personally
right,
excited
right.
for Ratchet and Clank. I think it's gonna be a good time.
Absolutely. Yeah, Returnal looks super interesting. I was just watching a video the other day, and it's made by the same studio that made a game called Resogun, I think is
Yeah,
what it's called.
yeah.
And I never played that game either, but I've seen it.
Hey,
It's
it's on
like
my
a
library on my PlayStation. I think.
yeah. Oh, was it like a PlayStation Plus thing at
At
some
some
point?
point in my life, I always remember scrolling past it. It's there. I don't know when I got it or how I got it, but
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah, I'll have to check then, because if it's there, if I claimed it at some point, I may go back and play it. But
Yeah,
I think there's inspiration there in like the moment-to-moment combat. Obviously, it's a way different game. It's like
yeah.
3D. It's like a regular 3D game, modern game, Returnal that is. But yeah, it looks really interesting. I'm not another thing I'm not super into normally is roguelikes.
Yep.
I just it's not the kind of thing I want to play. I guess I like seeing progress and I mean, one game that comes to mind that I do own, Binding of Isaac. That
Yep.
game is fun, but when you die, it is the most disheartening thing, and you start literally from scratch. And I don't
Yeah.
think that's
Not
what's
not my thing.
yeah,
I like
yeah, and
roguelikes that that keep the
progress,
permanent progress. Yeah, I'm down with
right,
those, but
right, and
some do
then
it
I
better than
mean,
others.
yeah, and the most recent one that's a great example of that I enjoyed a lot was Hades.
Yep.
That one I didn't get as far in it as you did, but I did get an escape out of Hades one
There you
time,
go.
and I felt good about that, and I felt good about adding it to my video games beaten last year. But yeah, that one was great. And also, I already mentioned on this podcast that I'm a sucker for Greek mythology, so that was definitely what kept me going. There's cool lore there.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Returnal. I'm not sure that I would pick it up day one. I think it comes out April 30th, right?
Yeah, for $70, I think.
Jeez, yeah, those next gen game prices, man.
I'm gonna have to get sold on the like. That's another problem for games
Yeah.
like that. Like launching a new IP.
Yep.
You got to build trust there, especially when you're launching for
Absolutely.
$70. Like for example, we'll get into it a little bit later, but whenever the new God of War comes out, $70 easy money, no problem. Everyone's
No,
paying
I'll
that.
probably go for the $150 collector's edition.
Exactly. No one's
Like,
no one's gonna worry about that one. But when you have a game
yeah,
like Returnal, it doesn't have a lot of you don't have the name brand trust there and everything.
right.
You gotta sell people on that. So I'm gonna
There's
wait.
a little bit of experience with the studio, I guess, but
Yeah,
not one
yeah,
that is super well known. So
yeah.
I can't remember what the name of it is. I
And
can't remember, but
it's another good point. With people who are more, I guess maybe plugged in. I guess you could say they might, is it Housemark?
Housemark. There we go. Yep.
They might hear that name and can make some connections in their head. But like the average person, they're
Sure.
not thinking, oh, Housemark made this game, I'm gonna
Yeah.
like it. But God of
Right.
War has
Right.
the name, God of War.
Santa Monica.
There you go.
Santa Monica Studios. Yep. They know what they're doing, and they've had. I mean, what is it like 8 games or something like behind it? Yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely.
Speaking of
Eh,
God of War, is that coming out this year?
Shoot, I hope so. We got the teaser. Was it during the Game Awards teaser,
Uh,
or was it
it might have been
something
a
else?
state of play. It
Oh,
was
it
recent,
might be that.
recently shown, and they did say
Recently teased.
2021. It didn't
They
show anything,
did.
but was it the little Omega sign, and then like
Yeah.
maybe Kratos
I think
talking
it
or
said
something?
it may have said Ragnarok.
Yeah, I think
I
it
don't
said
remember.
Ragnarok is coming or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
And it said
I
2021, but we haven't heard about it
did.
since, so who knows?
Well, E3 is coming up, so
Yeah.
and this digital event that they're doing, and I know Sony's not even participating in that, but you have to imagine they're going to be announcing stuff at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, maybe we'll hear more about
Yeah,
it then.
I would imagine even if it's not coming out this year, they're going to address it. They're not going to just,
I hope so, because
know.
well, they can't just tease it for
Yeah.
saying it's going to come out this year and then not say anything.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I doubt they'll wait like until the end of the year to be like, oh, by the way, a major first-party exclusive is not coming out this year. So I'm sure we'll hear something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I can't wait for that, and that would only fuel me into playing the God of War 2018 again. That would
That might be a good time to go back and play that.
absolutely same story with Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever it's going to be called.
Yeah.
If that comes out this year, maybe holiday, maybe early next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same story there.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one of those I'm more confident in coming out this year. They're both kind of in the same boat for me. Like, I guess
Right.
if you want to go purely off of Breath of the Wild 1 did come out before God of War 1, but that doesn't mean anything.
Right. No, it doesn't.
But if in my mind, it came out a year earlier. So if it came out first,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
But yeah, I think whatever Breath of the Wild 2 ends up being, I'm sure we'll hear about that. I think they had said we're going to see more on it in the latest the direct. They mentioned.
Did they say that?
Yeah, they said something
That's
along the lines of
promising.
we don't have anything to show you now, but we have more to show you like in
But
the coming
later
months.
this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so who knows? Maybe that'll be a 2021 Game of the Year contender. But
For sure.
I'm
That'd be
sure
cool.
I'll be all down for that.
Yep.
So that covers Nintendo and maybe some PlayStation if you don't have anything else.
Yeah, kind of checking it over. I'm looking forward to the as far as things we're looking forward to, the Diamond and Pearl, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl
Oh,
remakes.
yeah.
It's my favorite generation of Pokemon. I know people are complaining about it that they maybe didn't change much or
Yeah.
they don't like the art style, which I honestly am not a huge fan of the art style they're going with, but
Yeah.
I think I'll probably grow fond of it because that is my favorite Pokemon game back in the day. So
Yeah, that's
I'm
one of
really
those
looking forward
games.
to that.
I don't know if I can. I mean, they're going to have to do a lot for me to say that's a Game of the Year contender, but I'm still going to absolutely love every second of that and play that.
Yeah, yeah.
Play it like no one's business.
You got to get that Infernape, man.
Oh yeah, it's my boy.
Oh, yep, of course.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that game for sure.
Yeah.
What about also staying on PlayStation? What about Horizon? Was it Forbidden West? Is that a 2021 game? You think?
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't even write that down. I completely forgot about. I think that is supposed to be a 2021 game. I would have to check. We haven't seen much. just kind of that trailer about it, and I think they have said 2021. I would have
Yeah.
to, have to double check that. But yeah, I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn definitely one of the highlights of the PS4 generation in my mind. Unfortunate that it had to compete with Breath of the Wild in 2017.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of comparisons made that maybe shouldn't have been, just
Didn't
because
it
they
come out
simply
just before
released.
Breath of the Wild?
It was February of
Yeah,
that
that
year.
was really
Yep.
unfortunate because not only did it have to compete with another, big open world game such as Zelda, but a brand new console that just swooped in and took all of its thunder.
Right.
A lot. I
Yeah.
mean, I personally haven't played Horizon. I will get. I'm probably going to play
Great.
it now that it's going to be a free game with the Stay at Home initiative.
Right. Right.
So I'm definitely going to download that. I'll eventually get into
I
playing
think
that.
it's the
But
complete edition too, so you get the DLC.
yeah,
out of it.
yeah. Yeah, that game's going to be forever tied to Breath of the Wild, whether it likes it or not. The fact that it came out like
Well,
2 weeks before it.
I don't think I see so much of that anymore. I think
Yeah.
in that year it
Yeah,
probably
maybe
was
you're
drawing a
right.
lot of
Maybe you're right.
comparisons,
Yeah.
because that game did sell very well. I mean, I think it was
Yeah.
10 million plus. It may be, it's probably one of the best PS4 exclusives as far
Yeah.
as units sold.
Oh, well,
It's
that's
really
not
good.
exclusive anymore. It's on the good old PC
Oh,
now.
fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, I
Fair
know,
enough. Console
yeah,
exclusive.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. But yeah, that game is really good. If we're just talking about kind of why I would look forward to the sequel, I think that world is just so unique. I mean, we've seen post-apocalyptic worlds, all the time,
Yep.
but that one, it's just a very interesting take on how that world is where it is, and it's like way in the future, but how the world got there.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to call them robot dinosaurs is what you're fighting. That's practically
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It's just super unique, and the main combat feature is the bow and arrow, of course, and there's lots of cool stuff going on there with different types of arrows, and there's other cool projectile weapons. It's just a really, I thought it was a very polished game. And it came from a studio that made Killzone as Guerrilla Games,
Yep.
which I don't think anyone expected them to put out something like that. But it was I saw that game leading up to its release, and I just instantly knew I was going to like it because it was just very unique. So I'm absolutely looking forward to the sequel, to see where they go with it, how much more expansive they make the game. That should be a good time.
Yeah, for
One
sure.
of the highlights of the PS4 generation for me.
Yeah. Anything else come to mind for PlayStation or Nintendo before we jump into maybe what Xbox has coming?
Well, I will say one more thing. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned it, but the Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC upgrade
Oh, there we
stuff.
go. Final Fantasy VII
Right
Remake
before Ratchet and
Intergrade,
Clank. Yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
I think it comes out the day before Ratchet and Clank. Yeah.
I believe you're correct there, which is odd because that's like a Thursday. So,
You're right. I had that. I actually had that a different segment of the.
Okay.
I had it written down somewhere else, but it should be this games we're excited about. I am definitely excited for that. Final Fantasy VII Remake was my 2020 personal favorite game of the year.
Really good, man.
Really good game. This is all new content. I know not to spoil it for people who haven't played the original game, but this storyline that you're going to play isn't part of the original game. The character you're playing, you don't meet till later in the game. So it's all brand new stuff. I'm going to assume it's going to keep it. I don't think they're going to rewrite the character per se, but maybe just looking at her name's Yuffie. Maybe you're just seeing what was going on with her at this point in the story. But yeah, I'm down for it. It looks, and it comes alongside like a PS5 upgrade of the game.
Right.
I believe the PS5
game already looked so good.
Yeah,
So
I believe the PS5
that's
upgrade's
better.
free, but you have to buy the Yuffie DLC. I think they announced it was $20 just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to replay the whole game again because, I played that game on a base PS4 on an old 1080 screen. I've got a brand new TV.
Oh my gosh, it's
I've
gonna
got the
be like
PS5. I'm gonna go all back into that. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely planning on replaying that. I had a really good time with it. I ended up just loving the combat system, despite some things some things that irritated me in the beginning of that game. I just came to respect because it's really the best way that I can describe it is that the combat in that game is really a mix between like a action RPG and then like turn-based elements because you give commands.
It's crazy
and
how
stuff.
well they weave that in there.
Yeah.
It does feel almost
Yeah.
like somewhat of a turn-based game at times.
Yes, and that's kind of and in the little bit that I played of Final Fantasy 12, I mentioned that earlier. I can see the inspiration there with like you choose a command and it actually kind of like stops everything,
Yeah.
which is nice. I don't think Final Fantasy 7 remake is like that. What does it slow things
It's
down?
like super slow mo. I thought about
Yeah.
actually testing it if you could just like sit there and like get hit
Right.
eventually.
Yeah.
But
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure I
it's just
did.
super slow mo.
I'm pretty sure I didn't test it intentionally, but I'm pretty sure while playing through the game,
Yes.
I definitely got smacked
Yeah,
while
yeah.
trying to give a command.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised by how much I ended up, liking the combat system, because I don't even know, before you convinced me to play it, I don't know that I was even going to play it, because I didn't have the history with
Yep.
the original game. I never played it, so I'm really glad I did. I think this is another game, as far as the original Final Fantasy VII goes. It's another game that falls into the category of when I see a sequel, like I'll probably go back and play the original Final Fantasy VII. I have it on Switch, bought on the eShop for a good deal. But when I see like the part 2 of the remake announced, just based on what we know about the story stuff that's going on, I think I need to play the original. Like you said, for I don't remember what game it was now, but for my own gaming honor and history, just to experience that. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that through an interview of the developers that this is almost they're almost treating this as a halfway point, maybe not like a halfway point, but like it's like an intermission intergrade between part 1 and part 2, and I think they did say that this will be the only DLC for part 1, and they're gonna full steam ahead go into part 2.
I didn't see how they were gonna be able to incorporate. Like before they announced the integrate stuff and the Yuffie story, I did not think they were going to add anything to the game. I was like, how could they? Like, like they have this original that they're basing it off of. Like, they would really have to, like, it wouldn't really make sense. But I'm all for it, and it gives me an excuse to, have an even better experience with, the remake with the PS5 upgrade and everything. So
yeah, and it's taking place in a part of the story where I would say that after the first big arc of the story, where Cloud gets separated from the others of the party.
Right.
So it's taking place, on the ground with different characters while they're,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it.
Yep. So that's June 10th. And then June
10th,
11th, Ratchet and Clank.
Oh yeah.
Which
nice.
I mean, that's a day one.
So you're gonna binge out integrate those 24 hours. You're gonna finish.
I have no idea what I'm gonna do on that weekend, because I mean, I think we've talked about it, separately. That is Final Fantasy VII remake integrate, Ratchet and Clank, and then what, E3 starts? Like, come on.
I've already told my boss I'll be taking off for at least one day that week with E3 starts. So maybe I'll just take off the Thursday Final Fantasy comes out and make like a week-long staycation, like just bust through Final Fantasy, Ratchet and Clank, then watch E3. I think that'd be a good time.
You're just gonna take off a week from work?
Well, just the Thursday, Friday of one week, and like Monday, Tuesday the next week.
Right.
Like
that would be quite the event there.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for me because, Ratchet and Clank is, just for some background on me, I mean, my first console that I owned was a PlayStation 2 that I could call my own. I had a GameCube and stuff like that I shared with my siblings, but the PlayStation 2, I had these really bad miniature-looking wireless controllers, and it was horrible. But the first game I got for the PlayStation 2 was Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, and ever since then, I've loved the series. So that is going to be a struggle for me as far as what to focus on, because I enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake so much, but Ratchet and Clank is just that series for me, man. Like I got to play it. So it's funny because one thing I probably should have mentioned as far as games I would like to go and play, which this is actually a must. I think I need to do this. I own Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus for the PS3, but for some reason I bought it on eBay for pretty cheap, like way back, probably in high school, and I never played it. But apparently this Rift Apart is like a direct sequel to Into the Nexus, and I've never played it.
It's interesting because I'm pretty sure Into the Nexus is a sequel to Crack in Time, and then I think the 2016 PS4 Ratchet and Clank was like a soft reboot. It was like a retelling of the
and
first
it went
game.
with the movie that they put out. So
I think that's disconnected. I haven't seen it either.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that game's disconnected from what this game's going to be.
The 2016 game?
Yeah, the 2016 game, sorry. The 2016 game is disconnected from what this one is.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I understand it, too.
Yeah.
So I definitely need to go back, and I know it won't take me that long. I have my PlayStation 3 ready to hook up, and I can just plug it in, play through Into the Nexus, so I get that little bit of story. And like Into the Nexus is one of the few games in the Ratchet and Clank series that I haven't played. So it's funny that
Or you could
it's this
just
direct
play it on
sequel.
PlayStation Now, on your PlayStation 5.
Yeah, but then I would have to pay for that, would I not?
You sure would.
So I don't have any qualms about hooking up the PS3 and playing
Yeah.
for like 6 to 8 hours, whatever that story is, and just
Yeah.
at least being able to say I played it and then be fully prepared for Rift Apart. I might even play another through of the 2016 reimagining of Ratchet and Clank, just because that also got a PS5
got a PS5 update.
upgrade. Yeah, so lots to play, man. Lots to play.
Yeah, so
That's a lot of PlayStation there.
That's a lot of PlayStation. So yeah, that nails down. We got some Nintendo in there. We got a little PlayStation. We got some third party with Final Fantasy and well, I guess Final Fantasy is a PlayStation exclusive, but it's still a third party. And Resident Evil.
Yeah.
What about Xbox?
Well, this is a tough category for me. If you have something, you can kick it off.
Well, I was going to say the big one obviously is Halo Infinite.
Of course. Yeah.
That got delayed out of 2020 for reasons online. People it was probably needed to get delayed, but people were complaining, yada yada.
Sure.
But like I mentioned earlier, I want to replay all through the Halo games, and that a big part of that is getting ready for the Halo Infinite campaign.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be all over that.
Oh, for sure. I can't wait to play that. And then yeah, I mean it's been a long time coming, right? I mean the last game came out in like 2015 or something.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll be a good time.
Interesting thing with that, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on Game Pass like all Xbox first party games are. So if you have Game Pass, that's just a free possible game of the year contender handed to you.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, hopefully, there was like you mentioned the kind of some of the drama online, and when I saw, I think what people were complaining about is just some of the visuals, I guess, which I like when they showed off that the gameplay. It must have been during an Xbox kind of Nintendo Direct-esque thing.
Yeah.
People were complaining about how it looked, and I don't know, that kind of stuff I don't really notice as much, because especially when I'm watching a stream on like my little computer or something, like it's a stream and it's like not done, like but I feel like that was part of their reasoning that they put out to the public, is like, yeah, we're going to readjust things, but I mean COVID probably had an impact as well. But
for sure.
I didn't know what was so bad about it, but
it's an interesting thing, because when you think about it, what something looks like in a still shot is way different than what it looks like in motion. And I would argue that
for sure on your monitor, like native,
exactly
like,
what it looks like in motion is, in my opinion, obviously more important. That's what you can be playing it with. You can pick apart a lot of games if you stop it and find a bad frame. And, I'm not going to say that the game looked perfect in motion or anything, but I mean, I don't think it looked bad. I think it looked acceptable.
I didn't think so either.
And it's if they support it, like they have been supporting the Master Chief Collection, I'm sure that game will continue to get updated, and it will be, quite the sight to behold here, down the line.
Right. Yeah, and I think that they've come out, or they've probably clarified at some point that it's not, and maybe I'm thinking of a different game, but I don't think it's supposed to be like a game as a service type deal. Like, I don't think that's what they're making it. But yeah, the continuous support is always good, and maybe it. Hopefully, I guess you don't want games to come out and need a bunch of support right off the bat as far as like fixing it. So hopefully, with this delay, it bakes in the oven for as long as it needs to, and then comes out a good game. But yeah, it'll be cool leading up to it with all the Halo games before it. So yeah, that was a big one. Do you have anything else for Xbox? I had one other thing.
No, go ahead.
So, I mean, this is just kind of a random thing that I'm throwing out there, because I've mentioned multiple times now that I'm playing Final Fantasy 12 on via Game Pass. My original plan was to play through Final Fantasy 10 and Final Fantasy 10-2 first.
Such a goofy name.
But I know. It's really 10-2.
I think 13 has 13-1-2-3, which is just
well, I think the third one's even weirder. It's like it doesn't even start with Final Fantasy 13. It has some other name in it.
Lightning Returns or something.
Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13. I think it's like okay. But yeah, so I mean, I think it was probably at the end of 2019 or maybe early 2020. Microsoft came out and said they were putting a bunch of Final Fantasy games on the service, which is awesome. And I'm delving into that series just like you are now. And I've heard really good things about those two in particular, those two iterations, that being 10 and 12. So my hope, and then maybe this falls into more of a prediction category, but I feel like this is something that should happen soon because they've already said it's going to happen. Is I want them to get those Final Fantasy games on Game Pass so
on
I can
Game
play.
Pass. Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, that's what I want. But yeah, that's I don't have a whole lot for Xbox. Most of my stuff that you know that I enjoy in gaming is played on Switch or PlayStation, and I go to Xbox, recently because of the first party stuff, and maybe some things that some third party stuff that they end up dropping on Game Pass that I don't want to drop $70 on or $60 on, but yeah, so not a whole lot for me to predict or whatever for Xbox at this point.
Yeah, so that's a lot of the games that we know are happening, or at least maybe not happening this year, but we know they've been announced and
Right.
they're in motion. What about some predictions? Maybe some 2021 predictions that we don't know about. Maybe some speculation, things we might hear about it this summer at E3 or
Yeah.
what have you. You got anything comes to
Yeah,
mind?
I guess if we go down the list of the big three, one thing, or I'll call out two things. In the spirit of this being the Legend of Zelda's 35th anniversary year, we've gotten a little bit of a taste of that with Skyward Sword coming out. What is it, July
Probably
16th?
probably the
I
same
think.
day as yeah, July. Sorry, July.
I think it is July.
Yeah,
It's
July.
not
Okay.
yeah, that would be dangerous if it was
Oh
June
gosh.
16th with the
Yeah.
other two plays. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I would do. I would
Yeah.
have to take some serious time off work,
Yeah.
not sleep. I don't know what I would do there. But yeah, so we've gotten a flavor of that with Skyward Sword being announced, which is cool because I never played that one. I did never own it on Wii. But I would like them to announce either some kind of bundle pack, or even if they put them out separately, because I'm a fool and Nintendo owns my wallet, I would buy both. But
Yes.
Wind Waker HD and then Twilight Princess HD, I want both of those. I have started and played through a good chunk of Twilight Princess multiple times on Wii and never
Yep.
finished it.
Excellent.
I'm not really. I don't really care about the spoilers because I've seen stuff and all. I
Yeah.
know basically what goes on at the end, and but I want to play through those games in the same vein as what we've talked about for my gaming experience and
Yeah.
knowledge, and just to be able to say I did it because I think it's important. But yeah, I would want to see something that really honors Zelda, and I they're going to do it because they did it for Mario. Whether people want to, people have their opinions about how well Nintendo did the anniversary, especially with the 3D All Stars game. But I hope that they do a good amount more for the Legend of Zelda, and maybe even throw Ocarina of Time in there because that's a game I also own on 3DS, and I've tried to play it multiple times, and it's fun, but I just keep falling
Yeah.
off of it. So if it's on Switch though, I'll play it. So
Yeah. So
I hope that they announce something like that for Zelda.
that's what I was gonna say. So obviously, if we want to draw a direct comparison, we already know the Mario 35 stuff happened. We had,
Yeah.
the 3D All Stars, which had 64 Sunshine and Galaxy, and then we had a standalone game with 3D World and Bowser's Fury. If we want to draw a direct comparison to this year with Zelda's 35th, let's say that Skyward Sword is the equivalent to about 3D World. Let's say it's the
Right.
standalone game that they feel like can sell for $60 on its own.
Right.
And the rumors point to Twilight Princess and Wind Waker being bundled. Does that bundle have a third game to make it to draw a parallel with 3D All Stars? Does it have
Be
Ocarina
cool
of
if it had
Time?
Ocarina. Yeah.
Maybe Majora's
Yeah.
Mask. I feel like it's hard
It
to
would-
make a bundle for Zelda, a 3D Zelda, without throwing in Ocarina of Time. Like it's
I
it's a
agree.
classic. It's
Yeah.
you can't. Especially it'd be even weirder if they threw in like Majora's Mask and didn't have Ocarina of Time in there. Like it's
Yeah, I don't think they can do that because that's kind of in the same vein. If like with the bundle pack, people thought that, and I was one of these people. Super Mario Galaxy 2, like where is that? That game is arguably better than the first Galaxy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it would not make any sense to have like Ocarina, Twilight Princess, or I'm sorry, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Wind Waker. You got to have Ocarina because it's the first, and
what
that makes sense to me.
what I'm thinking though. So 3D All Stars had Mario 64 in there, which technically you can still get it from physically if you can find it, but you can't buy that game easily anymore.
Right.
What I'm hoping is that maybe Nintendo is, this might bode poorly for Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask in that collection, but maybe Nintendo's going to drop N64 games on the online sometime, and
I
they're
would
not
take
going to
it.
they're not going to sell you Ocarina of Time for money if they can get you to, it wouldn't make sense if they can
No,
for you to
no, they would
buy
receive
it.
a lot of backlash for that.
Yeah, exactly. If it's going to be on the
Yeah.
online. So I'm thinking maybe we won't see Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and maybe instead we'll see those games show up in a N64 online service, along with Mario 64, which is
Well,
technically
I
no
was
longer available.
right. Well, I was gonna say that's kind of interesting because just like you said, they probably wouldn't sell you Ocarina, if they did announce it for the N64
Yep,
like online stuff. But they did just sell us Mario 64. So
they
if they're gonna
did.
put N64 games on the service, then they got to put Mario 64. So
Exactly. It's
even though
what
they
makes
just sold it
it.
to us,
So maybe that's a big maybe that was one of the factors on them taking it down. I'm sure there was plenty of other
perhaps.
factors. There motivations there. They're trying to
Yeah.
sell you on the FOMO and seeing what they can get out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
argue that, but I do think it would be even tougher of a sell if that game was, or one third of the games was, on the online service.
Right.
So maybe that's their path there.
Right. Yeah, and I think it kind of, it makes sense to have if it's just a bundle between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I think it would make sense. And it's funny because I, for a while, thought that that's how they released on Wii U, but that's not correct, right? They released separately those two games, the Twilight Princess and Wind Waker
They
HD
did
versions.
release I'm pretty sure the HD versions were released separately, each for, I
Yeah.
think, the full price.
I don't know why I thought there was some combo pack with those, but I think that it would make
The
sense
Blu-ray
to release
combo
those
pack.
together.
I
Some
think
Blu-ray
I
combo
think
pack.
they've already pushed their luck. They sold the games twice, and those games are deserving of it. They're HD, whatever. I
Yeah.
think they'd be hard pressed to sell them individually again
For $60
for
each.
$60. I would
Imagine that.
I think a combo pack there would do wonders. Uh,
Yeah. $180 this year on 3 Zelda games that are, I mean, how old? Like,
yeah.
that would be
Skyward
crazy.
Sword was Skyward Sword was like the 25th anniversary
Right,
celebration
right.
game.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
so that's 10 years old, and then you can draw conclusions from that for how old the other ones
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else, Zelda? Are we getting an official? It's like with Mario, we had like Mario 35, and we had all this Mario
Yeah.
merchandise. Are we getting that for Zelda?
That'd be cool. I would try to get those pins if they did
The
some,
Zelda pins? Yeah.
Yeah, because I did try to get, and this is probably a topic for a different area of the podcast, but I did try to get the first Mario pin set and was not able to. So
Very sad.
I would do my best to participate and collect whatever merchandise they put out for Zelda this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that knocks out that Zelda. This
Yeah.
is I have another it's a prediction, but we could have mentioned this earlier in the games we already know about. I completely forgot. Final Fantasy 16.
Oh yeah, I do have that written down. Yeah.
That's already a known quantity, but they haven't said a release date for that game.
Nope.
Do you think it's coming out this year?
Shoot. I mean, I know that Square Enix has all of their different teams in
Yep.
the company, and
Yep.
this one is, well, actually, it's the same one as Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Or is it not?
It might have some overlap, but I don't think it's the
Okay.
same. I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake team is on Final Fantasy VII Remake. Don't quote me
Gotcha.
on that. I'll have to
Okay.
look
Okay.
further into that. But I'm pretty sure this is I'm pretty sure they said the team that's doing 16 is the team that has taken over Final Fantasy 14.
That sounds right, actually. Yeah. Okay. And that game is. I don't really know much about that game. I just know it had turned around for
Yep.
the better.
Yep.
So that as far as it coming out this year, 16. I don't know. I think it's perfectly plausible that it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's
I'm
so
thinking
hard at this point.
The easy guess is that it was maybe planned to be this year, eons ago.
Yeah.
But now, everything's getting delayed. If everyone has an easy get out of jail free card, our game's
Yeah,
getting delayed,
yes.
for more polish, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I completely understand that happens with the way things have been the last year.
Right.
So I'm with you. I would not be surprised if we saw that game at E3, or maybe not E3 exactly, because I don't think Square is confirmed to be there, but maybe a summer event.
Sure.
And they put a 2022 tag on that.
Right.
And I'm all for it. I mean, that game looks cool. It's maybe a high fantasy setting. Final Fantasy is weird. It goes between fantasy and sci-fi, and even some of the games are even a good mix
Yeah.
between them.
Oh yeah.
But this just looks like straight up high fantasy.
Straight
yeah.
up by fantasy.
So-
Yep. And I love that setting.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other
But yeah,
interesting predictions? I've got one more. I don't know if you have a.
let me see. As far as prediction goes, we talked a little about God of War Ragnarok, so we won't I won't touch on that again. One thing that I just kind of back to Nintendo real quick, after I played through Xenoblade 1 and 2, I would love to see Xenoblade Chronicles X make it on as a port
Oh
to
yeah,
the
there you
Switch.
go.
That would be really cool. Don't know that it's going to happen. I think there's always rumors circulating, right? And then with the success of Xenoblade, I don't know what the numbers are, but I know it has probably sold pretty well, and it's a decently popular series. So
I would
I would,
imagine it's a safe bet that
yeah,
that'll eventually find its way. I mean, most
yeah,
of the big hitters from the Wii U have made it over, and the Wii U games didn't sell as well as they could have on there, but
right,
everything sells well on the Switch, and it's a great opportunity to get some you know some more fans into a series. Yeah, for a lot of people, that's a brand new game. People complain about Switch ports
yeah,
all the time, but Wii U ports to the Switch all the time. But I mean, the Wii U sold what 14 million copies
yeah,
or units. I mean,
yeah.
the Switch has already sold 80 plus. So
Yeah, I mean,
complain all you want. Most people haven't played those games.
right. So it's like, yeah, that's the minority of people I would say that are complaining about some of these ports because,
Yep.
like you said, I mean, it's just a huge difference between the units sold, and
Yep.
I think that I wouldn't even call it like some people look at ports as like cash grabs or whatever.
Yep.
I don't think a lot of these Wii U games fall into that category because I mean, as a business, they're going to take advantage of more people on their system. They want to okay, we put work into this game that didn't sell very well. Let's try again. Let's get it out
Yeah,
there.
and
Um,
I'm not a game developer, but I would imagine porting a game is a little bit simpler and straightforward of a project, and
Probably.
all that does is it buys them time and it gets them more money to funnel into the actual next game. It's a good
Absolutely.
buffer. Like if you're
Yeah.
waiting, if you let's say Xenoblade 2 came out, and then I know they had Torn or whatever, but say there was a
Yeah.
6 year gap, 5 6 year gap between Xenoblade 2 and Xenoblade 3, people be wondering what's going on. But if they throw in
Right.
X 3 years into that, as like a good buffer, it gives them all that time. It takes the pressure off of them, but still gives them some money. I think it could make for a better product where they don't have to rush out Xenoblade 3.
Right. Yeah. Which Monolith Soft.
Yep.
That's the company, right? Yeah.
Yep.
They put out the definitive edition of Xenoblade One. It would make sense, to put out Xenoblade Chronicles X because it didn't sell well, and get more people exposed to it. And it's been less than 4 years since Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out, and I don't know when the DLC came out. It was probably less than a year after. But yeah, it would definitely make sense as a buffer and continue to get their series into more people's hands. So that is a, a soft prediction for me.
Yeah.
It's just more of a want,
Yeah, I feel like I
Um,
feel like it's a pretty safe one. Not only is Xenoblade 2 getting more new Xenoblade fans,
yeah,
but the Switch itself is getting more video game fans and more
yeah,
RPG fans, and so re-releasing old games that people missed, I think is an easy slam dunk.
right, for sure. Yeah, so that's a hope for me. I had one more, and I'll go ahead and give another prediction or
Yeah,
want.
yeah, go for it.
No, you go ahead. I want to see if you have
Oh,
the same.
sorry. Yeah, you cut out for a second, so I was just
Oh, sorry.
guessing. Okay, so
Yeah.
my last prediction, I like to think it's pretty safe, but you never know. So we haven't seen a new Sonic game in a
Oh
while.
wow.
We had
I
a
was not thinking that.
yeah. So there was Sonic Forces everyone wants to meme on, and then there's Sonic Mania. So last year, 2020, is so sad. I think either in December of 2019 or in January of 2020, Sega slash Sonic team announced that 2020 was going to be the year of Sonic, and they were going to have an announcement every month. And they did it one time. It was like January. And I think the announcement was the announcement of this thing. And then they
Yeah,
never did it again because the world fell apart. So,
that's so sad.
so they just never, they had to like cancel the year of Sonic. I think it was like an
Oh
anniversary
man.
year. And they haven't talked much about the new Sonic game. And I think they have recently, maybe last year, they said that they're taking their time with their next 3D Sonic game.
Right.
And
As
I
they should.
as they should. And I would not be surprised if maybe this is the year we hear about it. I personally, I'm a big Sonic Adventure fan. Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, some of my favorite games from my childhood. And Sonic
Yeah.
Adventure 3 has always been like that. Like the mythical game that never happened. Everyone always
Yeah.
wanted it. If you look up Sonic, when I was a kid, I always look up Sonic Adventure 3, like like game art and like stuff like that. Like I would just like hope that I was a kid. Is the internet? I didn't know what existed. It didn't exist. But I feel like this would be the chance. Forces didn't do so well with the minds of people. Maybe a good Sonic Adventure 3. It's a name that people remember. It'd be a good opportunity to try to bring Sonic back into the light. Because he's been struggling for a while. I mean, Sonic Mania was good, but that was Sonic Mania was a 2D game that was like it had a lot of attributes of like the original old Sega game Sonic games, 2D Sonic games. Yeah. I think a lot of the levels were shared, just remakes of them.
Right. That's one of the things that confused me about it, because I've never been a huge Sonic guy. But when I saw that announced, I was like, is this just like some kind of compilation of old Sonic games?
It's funny, that game was made by like literal Sonic fans. Like people
really?
Sonic super fans like came to Sega and were like, hey, let us make this,
wow.
like
I
game.
did not know that.
And that's I mean, I'm sure Sega either oversaw it or helped develop it. But yeah, that game was made predominantly by like big Sonic, old school Sonic fans, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see Sonic Mania 2. Maybe we'll see that.
Well, given the backstory that you gave with the, what they tried last year, I think that is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah. I think E3. I think Sega's at E3 this year. There was a list of early companies that agreed to be there. I think Sega was on that list, and I know they have Atlas and they could do Persona and all that jazz. I really think that this would be a good opportunity to try to bring Sonic back. Get him a share of the conversation.
For sure, they deserve it. Yeah, the Blue Hedgehog deserves it. I would say. I mean, the movie did well, right?
The movie, I think that might have been like the, since last year was a crazy, weird time. That might have been like one of the highest grossing and highest rated films of the year, because it came out like just before the world fell apart, and it was like,
Isn't it one of the highest grossing like video game movies?
I think I read somewhere that I think it because of I don't think there was a Marvel movie last year. I think it got lumped into like superhero films. It was like the highest grossing like quote unquote superhero film of the year, which is hilarious because Marvel didn't have a big movie that year. So yeah, it's kind of funny. I think it like broke their streak, which is hilarious.
Which I feel like we all just need to throw.
Yeah.
Some good games came out of it, despite all the turmoil. But 2020.
What that's the interesting thing about it is these delays. I think we're going to start seeing it more because obviously we're going to see it more. But what I meant is games that were close to being finished, the remote work they could I feel like they could finish up the polish and that kind of stuff easier than maybe a game that's midway through the the big world building or the big development of the game. Those games are going to get hit a lot harder. I feel like these delays are going to keep cascading, at least for another year or two.
Right. And, a lot of it we may not even know what the impact is because it could be stuff that was never even announced.
Yep.
It was just rumored.
Yep.
But with stuff that has been announced, God of War, possibly Final Fantasy, other things
Breath
in that, like, we'll see. I'm sure we'll see the impact, and we just got to all prepare for it. But there's lots of games out there to play, so it's all right. They take as long. Too many, honestly, too many. Yep.
Cool. So we just got done talking about all of our games. Predictions and games of the year. All the the state of the world we're in. Let's switch over.
Can I just say 2 words?
Oh yeah. Let's hear them.
Elden Ring.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
Where is it? We don't need to go into that much, but I want it.
Yeah, you opened up a scary part of my brain right there. I had put that to bed and just accepted it.
I'm sorry.
Oh damn it. They had that like leaked trailer or whatever that.
Oh my gosh, I did watch that.
Yeah, so that game will show up when it shows up. I mean, who knows?
Yes.
Maybe that'll be at E3. I don't want to put any hopes on it. I want that game to come out good. I want it to come out finished and polished, and I know I'm going to enjoy it.
Will.
So yeah, thank you for putting that back in my mind.
You're welcome.
So let's shift gears here a little bit. Let's go from video games to maybe some video game merchandise or collectibles.
Yep.
Just this could be things that we could access right now that we could buy, or things we want to buy. Maybe they're a little too expensive. Anything. So cool. Let's start with some of the easier ones, stuff that's out right now. I know you. I recently purchased this. Is the Monster Hunter Switch Pro controller. I'm going to throw it up on screen real quick. Look at that beautiful bad
Super
boy.
cool.
I know you can't see it, but I know you know what it looks like. So
Oh, I do.
you
I
gonna
do.
pick up the Monster Hunter Switch Pro controller?
I've mentioned that I do have the Xenoblade Pro controller, and so that puts me at 2 Pro controllers. And normally for video game consoles, unless I have a reason to have a bunch of them, I controllers are expensive, and they're one
Yep.
of those things that like
I think
they're
it's like
not like
70, 75 bucks for a Pro controller.
something like that. So like it would be very difficult for me to justify unless my current Pro controller, just a regular black one, just like kind of craps out, which I don't think it will because this thing is super high quality.
Yeah,
I don't.
I've
It's
got
hard for me to
thousands of
justify.
hours in this bad boy.
Yeah, I
It's
know
one of my
you
favorite
do. I
controllers I've
know.
ever had.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
it's like it's crazy how this exists alongside the Joy-Con that have the issues that they do. It makes me mad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, awesome controller. I
Yeah.
really have never had issues with it. And yeah, so I have the Xenoblade 2 one, which I don't even use that much to be honest, because I've shown you those cool
That one
the
is very pretty.
holders. Yeah, I've got these holders on the wall of controllers. They kind of you can't really see them. It look like they're just kind of suspended on the wall.
Yeah.
And I just kind of have the Xenoblade one sitting there, chilling out.
It's just
It
transformed
looks so
into
nice.
a showpiece.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of, but next to my desk, I don't use it that much. I used it for my entire playthrough of Xenoblade 2.
Of course, it gave you extra powers.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
That controller, when it was available, I didn't have a lot of the. I was in school. I didn't have a lot of expendable, cash.
Yes.
But I wanted that controller, and I do want it now. But this Monster Hunter
Very
controller
nice.
came out. It looks cool, and I was like, this is my chance to get the second Pro controller. I probably need a second one anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one.
It's real simple, but it is effective. I think
Yeah,
that the
it is
design
very
on it is
effective.
effective.
Yep.
So I like
Yep.
it a lot.
For sure.
And
it
that's
has-
kind of Nintendo's mantra.
yeah.
They're kind of special edition things. They don't do a huge overhaul. I think maybe one of the biggest ones, the Animal Crossing Switch. That thing's really nice, and
Yep.
it has a different dock. It has the stenciling or whatever you want to call it on the back of the console itself, and then
For sure.
the kind of mint green and blue Joy-Cons. But Nintendo doesn't do a lot of like huge overhauls with their designs, but they are usually effective. I think they do look
Yeah.
really cool. And
At least in
people wanna
recent
complain
years.
about
At least
them.
in recent years. They
Yeah,
had-
yeah.
The
That's
3DS
true,
had a
right.
lot of cool,
That's true.
You got that 2DS that looks like a Pokeball. That
Yeah,
thing's
so it's a
pretty
2DS XL, and it's red and white like a Pokeball, and the top of it has a button like you would find on an actual Pokeball that
Yeah.
it actually presses.
That's
Oh,
pretty
it's so
funny.
cool. It's one of
And-
it's one of my favorite things in my little collection.
Let's not
So-
forget the cursed Pikachu. I don't know if it's Pokemon Snap or Pokemon Stadium for the N64. That have you seen that thing?
Oh,
The-
it's like it has is it blue with like a Pikachu on it? It's like
yeah, I think it had multiple
protruding
colors.
out of
I
it.
think the main one is blue. I think there were multiple
Yeah.
colors, but it's it's a Pikachu
Oh.
like coming out of it into the
It's
world.
pretty rough.
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
rough.
Let's cool it on that. I don't need any of that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that Pro controller, that Monster Hunter Pro controller, I don't think I'm gonna get it. I don't think I can justify it. There's too many other things that I would like to buy, and games coming up. It's hard to justify like a $75 purchase for a third Pro controller. The
Well-
batteries already last so long on these things. I wouldn't even I don't switch them out that much. So
Well, Brendan,
yeah, it's hard to
you
justify.
say it's hard to justify buying another controller. Are there any other Nintendo controllers on your mind that you might possibly purchase?
Well, yes. Funny that you may ask. I would like the Skyward Sword Legend of Zelda Edition Joy-Cons that they've
Yeah.
got releasing alongside Skyward Sword in July.
Yep.
I did try to pre-order them when they announced it, and it was really weird. I didn't see the pages go up immediately, and when I did, they were just gone. It was
Yeah,
just
they're gone. I'm hoping I can
Yeah.
get one at release because everything says sold out or not taking pre-orders, blah blah blah. But yeah, these bad
Yeah.
boys, I just threw them up on screen. They have like a motif of like the Hylian shield and the Master Sword. They're just like generic golden symbols, and then they got the
Sure.
the Triforce and stuff on them. They look
Yeah.
cool. I'm definitely gonna
Yeah,
pick
they're
these up.
definitely. Yeah, if I
I'm-
can.
Yeah, if I can. I'm gonna try to play Skyward Sword. I'm gonna give it a go with motion controls.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try, since I'm buying the Joy Cons to go with it. I'm gonna try to do my little swinging around. I got plenty of room in my game room to be swinging around like an idiot. I'm gonna try it.
Yep.
Fun fact with Skyward Sword. So in most games, Link is left-handed. Did you know that in Skyward Sword they made him right-handed because most people are going to swing the sword with their right hand?
I think I've heard that, and that's
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what about Twilight Princess for Wii? Was that
That's another
right-handed
interesting game.
there too?
Well, it's funny you mention that because that game is left-handed on the GameCube, and then they literally just 180 mirrored the Wii version. The game is like opposite.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so that game is depending on which version you get, it's just like a mirror image of it.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if a Twilight Princess comes out for the Switch. I bet they would do the same thing because if they're going to incorporate any kind of motion controls on a Switch port,
they gotta play it safe.
They probably do. Yeah. Yeah.
Go for all of
right.
us right-handed folk, not those freak left-handers.
Whoa, man.
Sorry, was that a little too much? Was that a little too aggressive?
A little bit.
Well, I'm
No,
sure 10% of the population
hopefully-
is really sad right now.
Hopefully, they know it's all in good fun.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Anyway, let's keep this train rolling. This is another collectible. I know you've mentioned that you want, and I've also wanted it. And similar to the I mentioned with the Xenoblade controller, I did not purchase this at launch because of monetary reasons when it came out.
Yeah.
But the Pokeball Plus charging stand. I know you've been looking for this one too.
Such a goofy little thing.
It's literally just a charging stand for that Pokeball. I do have the Pokeball. I had the money for that, but I couldn't justify the other $20 back then.
Yeah.
But now I can't find it. I'm sure if I look hard enough, I can get one.
On eBay, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
for more than what you would want to pay for.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it looks cool. It's just I would literally buy it. Like I'm not playing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I would just buy this and just set it on top of it. But I want it. I would like to set it on top of it.
Yes. Yes.
It's very, very pleasing. So yeah, that's a
and that's one of those goofy things where it's like there are definitely other things that could serve that same purpose, but that's like the officially licensed Nintendo thing.
Yeah.
I've seen some other like kind of knockoff, like just red and white kind of plastic things. That
I don't want
would
your
work
generic
just fine.
gray stand. I want the Nintendo generic gray stand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, honestly, like I said, there's some ones that are even different. Like that officially licensed one is like it's like gray white, right?
Yeah, gray and white, I think.
Some other, but some other knockoffs I've seen are like they look like a Pokeball and they're kind of a cool little stand.
Yeah.
I've seen them on Amazon, but I just can't help but want the officially licensed thing. So.
Yep, they get me with that.
Yep.
So for these, I have 3 more collectibles. I don't know if you have any other ones that come to mind for yourself.
Well, not many collectibles. I mentioned earlier the Mario 35 pin set #1. I did try as hard as I could to get that first pin set with the Nintendo missions.
You hold your breath. I'll show those off real quick. Just keep talking about
Go
them.
for it. Yeah, well, I do want them. I don't want them. I've looked on eBay and just for a laugh, and they're just obviously $100 or more, and it's just like no way. This is a free thing. I'm not going to pay money for it. But I did secure the second pin set, which I'm happy about because it came with that huge 35.
I think the second pin set was a little easier to get because I think people were mad about
sure.
the first pin set with how scarce it was. But I'll show these off real quick because I did manage to get both pin sets. A little dusty in here, but this is the first pin set. I do enjoy it. It's got a Mario 2, Mario 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario 1, and looks like Mario 64 pins in here.
Yeah.
I think the other one had Sunshine, Galaxy, 3 World.
Yeah, which
Odyssey,
to be honest,
35 pin.
Yeah. To be honest, as far as like, obviously I want the full set just because it kind of completes it, but if I could only have one, it would probably be the second set because those are the games, like the 3D games, specifically the Galaxy games and Odyssey, like those are the ones I feel more connected with. I like the 3D platformers more so than 2D platformers. So, but yeah, it would be nice to have that first pin set. Probably will never add it to my collection, but that's okay.
What's goofy about it is I'm showing it here. You can't see it, but the second pin set is like, twice as big, 3 times as big as the first pin set. It's just like actual size.
Yes.
Which threw me off.
Last one.
I thought I was so confused. But yeah, this is the second pin set. We got Sunshine, Galaxy. I guess that's Galaxy 2 because he's on Yoshi.
Yeah, he's on Yoshi.
3D World, Odyssey, then like a 35 pin, and that giant 35 pin is why it's so big. I got both of those. I'm really happy to have them. They come in the box is that that nice plastic or maybe nice cardboard, whatever it is. That
it's like cardboard.
Yeah, very nice feeling, high quality stuff. So I'm glad to have both of those for sure.
Yep. I guess if just to kind of complete my list, it wasn't very long, but just in the same vein as all the Xenoblade stuff, I played it very recently. I would really like to have the physical cart for the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC, Torna the Golden Country.
Yep.
It's funny because normally they don't release physical, carts for just literally expansions, but this was a pretty big one.
Yeah.
I think it was like $40 MSRP.
Yeah.
But literally, you go look on eBay right now, it was from maybe at a low, like if you're lucky, copy is like $80 or $90,
Wow.
and then a lot of them are like $150, $200. Like I don't even understand, and that's way more than what I checked maybe a few months ago or
Now,
a couple months
did
ago.
you check that price before Pyra and Mithra came to Smash? Maybe that was.
I think well, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think I was looking, and it was still at the ballpark for what I wanted to pay.
Yeah.
But yeah, before Pyra and Mithra were announced, and I had just finished Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it was probably like $60-$70 if correctly, maybe upwards of 100 for some. But yeah, it has shot up sometimes like doubled in price. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that I remember distinctly, like several years ago, walking around like Target, and I remember seeing it on the shelf. Like and I was like, oh, I've heard of the games, and of course I didn't buy it. It was the DLC for the second game of the series I'd never played. So, but it's just one of those sad things you think back on. It's like I saw it on the shelf, and look where it is. It's nowhere to be found now.
Yep.
Just yeah,
Hindsight's 20/20.
it is. Yeah. So I mean, maybe one day, get lucky and find a good listing for it. And there are other marketplaces to look. But I'm taking a break from Xenoblade anyways because I played the first two in pretty quick succession.
Yeah.
And maybe when I find a good deal, that'll bring me back into it to play the expansion.
Yeah.
But I would like to add that cart to my collection.
Cool.
That's all. That's about all I got on that.
Yeah. So I've got three. I would say like these are called, these would be collectibles. They're your statues.
Yeah.
One of them is pretty reasonably priced. Subjectively. The other two are a little more expensive. But I'll just go ahead and show the first one. Speaking of Pac-Man 99 and being a newfound Pac-Man lover, First Four Figures has this awesome Pac-Man 40th anniversary collector's thing. And it's like a little Pac-Man on a stand. He's waka-ing. And the coolest part about it is he's in front of like an infinity mirror. And if you look into the mirror, it looks like a long line of dots.
Oh yeah.
It looks super cool. I
gotta look this up now.
This one, I think it's $95. You can still pre-order it at the time of this recording on First Four Figures. I don't know if I'll get it or not. It's one of those things.
How much did you say it was?
95. Like as far as First Four Figures goes, it's a cheaper one, but it's still $95 for a statue of a Pac-Man.
Right.
But these are high quality. I have a couple. I know you have a. What do you have? You have the Breath of the Wild Link First Four Figures statue.
Yeah. So I think they released a version of that bow at some point, like probably around when the game first came out. But this one that I have is I can't remember what they call it, like the limited edition, and there may be some other name to it, but it lights up. The stand does, and part of his like his Sheikah slate and like his arrow light up. Cost me probably it's like 120, but I have been waiting for something like this to get announced. And I think we may have we talked in the beginning of the podcast about Breath of the Wild and how much I love that game, and I love that statue. It is so cool. And one thing that's kind of a nice quality of life thing on that, I think it takes batteries, but it also has like a
you can plug it
rechargeable battery. Yeah, which I thought that's super cool.
Yeah. On that same note, I have two other First Four Figures statues. Speaking of the lighting up and the plugging into the wall, I have a Sonic one. He's like running past a checkpoint, and like the light goes around the checkpoint. It's pretty awesome. That one was like.
Yep.
And then I got my son, the Tanuki Mario. Probably my favorite thing I have in my collection is the Tanuki Mario First Four Figures. That cost more than I'm proud of it to say, but you know what? That was my first call stupid purchase after college. And I remember seeing that statue at Nintendo New York when I went there like 5 years ago. And I did not have the money back then to buy it, and I was like, one day I'm going to buy that thing. And I did. I came back in stock and I bought it, and he's my child.
That's awesome. Yeah, that statue's super cool. I really like the Sonic one too. I like all the effects that are on there.
Yeah.
Super.
So speaking of First Four Figures, this next one, it's a collaboration with First Four Figures and the Pokemon Center. For $250, you can get this Charizard statue, and my God, this
Oh my
thing is
gosh.
so awesome. It lights up. This picture doesn't do it justice, but the flames light up, and he's going up in like a gale of like wind and smoke and fire, and it's super awesome. I think it's like a foot tall.
I'm not sure if I've seen that. Is
You
it the same one that I sent you at one point? I don't
Yeah.
think that was. I don't remember. Was that first four figures? Okay.
It's first, so it's through the Pokemon Center. You get to buy it through Pokemon
Yeah,
Center.
okay.
But
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that's
made
right.
by
Okay.
First Four Figures. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like for example, if you go to the link, I'll put in the comments for the statue. It's like a First Four Figures link that reroutes you to Pokemon Center.
Right.
Yeah, it's super cool, but it's it's $250. It's a little
Yeah,
little out there.
steep. Yeah.
But speaking of $250 statues that I do not need, this last one, you sent this to me a few
Oh my
a week
gosh,
ago.
yes.
So I mentioned I'm a big Fire Emblem fan, and this bad boy, this is an Ike statue. I think it's called like goodsmile.com or something like that. This isn't a.
Oh yeah.
This is not a First Four Figure statue, but my
Totally
God,
different manufacturer. Yeah.
this one is it's pretty sweet. It's Ike holding his legendary blade, the Ragnell, looking badass as he does. I this one's weird. It's like pre-orders are up from March 2021 to like July 2022. So
yeah.
even if I wanted this, I'm not going to get it anytime soon. But I'm
Right.
you should not have sent that to me because
Hey man, like I said, put some money aside for it, and
Yeah.
like pre-order it now, and it won't. You won't have
won't
to pay
hit till
for it
later.
Yeah, I think you should totally do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I might end up getting it. I got plenty of time to think about it. So
Yep.
cool. So that's all the I guess all the collectibles we have here. Anything else you want to mention before we move on?
No, that was about it. Yeah, didn't have a huge list there, but because there's always stuff to buy, and I think generally,
Always,
generally it's stuff that if I want something that, like I say I'm fortunate enough and also a fool enough because these video game companies just own me.
Yep.
If I see something I like, I'll just put the money towards it. A lot of the stuff that I want is stuff maybe in the past I didn't have, I wasn't in the position to be able to buy,
Yep.
or I just didn't. It was a series like Xenoblade that I didn't,
Know about?
I wasn't into yet. So
You
a
gonna
lot
get
of that
those
stuff.
$500 Xenoblade statues?
Those are so cool. Are they $500 each?
I don't know.
Or-
Man.
you talking about the Pyra and Mithra
The Pyra
one?
and Mithra, yeah. There are
Yeah.
several $100.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
no,
Yeah.
definitely not.
Yeah.
But those are also very cool. I remember good old. Why am I forgetting his name?
Masahiro Sakurai.
Sakurai. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
Yeah.
He had them set up during his presentation for the Pyra Mithra.
Yeah, he was very excited about those.
Yeah, those are cool.
Well, cool. Well, on that note, I promised you a game to end this podcast
did.
with, and
You did.
I didn't put a whole lot of thought into this, but I was like, I got to end it on something fun. So I quickly just threw together some game. It's probably not going to work very well. We're beta testing it now. You're going to be my first live subject on this new game. It's
Fantastic.
basically, you've heard of Video Game 20 Questions from from IGN GameScoop.
Oh,
We're
wow,
going to play
yes, I have.
a reverse option. I'm going to give you hints, and you're going to try to guess it in the least amount of hints possible. If that makes any sense.
Okay. So I'm not going to ask questions.
You're not going to ask questions. So I have 3 games. I have an easy. Well, this is also subjective. I have an easy, a medium, and a hard. I don't know if you'll get it. These might be hard,
Yeah.
medium, easy. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So each game has 6 hints, and you'll get a point for every hint. Like, for example, if you get the first game on the first hint, 6 points. If you get it on the
Gotcha.
last hint, 1 point. If you don't get it at all,
Gotcha.
0. There's 3
Gotcha.
games for a total of 18 points. And for your video game honor, I am challenging you to get over 9 points.
Okay.
And
All
the
right.
reason it's such a low bar is because, it's because the first few hints are very generic, as you'll find shortly.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it after the first hint. But I'm going to allow
Okay.
you. I'm going to
You
allow
underestimate
you.
my power.
Let's see. For the first 3 hints, I'm going to allow you 2 guesses per hint, and then on the
Okay.
last 3, I'm only going to allow you 1 hint, because it should
One guess?
become more. Yeah, sorry, one guess. It should
Gotcha.
become more obvious.
Sure.
Later on.
So I get a guess, and if I don't get it, you're going to give me a
Yes.
point detracted from me. Okay.
Yeah, and you get the next hint, and like I said,
Gotcha.
you get 2
I
guesses.
like this. This is a good idea.
You get 2 hints for the first guess. So this is the easy
Okay.
one that's kind of meant to introduce the topic, but I don't know how. it's hard to. It's easy to say it's easy when I'm the one coming up with it.
Yeah.
But here we
Well,
go.
I'm curious what you think my level of knowledge is about video game history and stuff, because we talk about video game 20 questions on GameScube. Like
Yeah.
there are so many things that they talk about in there that I've never. So
Yeah, I'm not going to get all niche on you. These are,
Yeah.
these are all be relatively.
Okay.
You've definitely heard of all these games.
Gotcha.
So I'm not
Okay.
going to throw some random thing at you. So
Okay.
for the first game, I'm going to show it on screen
lucky
after
I
you
can't
guess.
see
After
it.
you guess. First game. Your hint is you have played this game before. So now you have 2 guesses.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this is just to kind of introduce it. So
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
nope.
Wow. Okay. This is dumb to linger on this, but I want to see
Yeah.
if I can get it.
Yeah.
Trying to think like you would think to give,
Think
as
like
far as
I would
giving
think.
me.
Think
Yeah.
like I would think.
Breath of the Wild.
No, sir. So your second hint
Okay,
is
too easy.
it is an open world game.
Dang it. Okay. I played it before.
Two more
in this
guesses.
game. You're The Witcher 3.
Ding, ding, ding. You have got The Witcher 3. Yeah, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
That was
The
definitely
guess-
a good introductory one. We
Yeah,
talk
so-
about that so much.
Yeah, so your hints were going to be game you've played, open world, part of a series, third party, your boy has a sword, and also may have a TV show related to it.
Wow. Were those
so-
2 separate hints at the end? A sword and a TV show?
Yeah,
Two
yeah.
separate-
Those are the last ones
Okay.
like that. Yeah, trying to really spoon feed you. So that's 5 points for you. You need 4 more points to gain your honor.
Wow. Okay.
Now this is the medium difficulty one, so who knows if you'll get. It's really ramping up. You went from
Yeah.
level 3 CPU to like level 6 CPU right here.
I struggle.
You struggle.
So with that.
So your
okay.
medium game. The first hint is it is a puzzle game.
Is it Picross?
It is not Picross.
And do I get a second guess though?
Yeah, I'll
right?
give you a second guess. Yeah.
Okay. Does it follow that same pattern with the amount of guesses per hint in the beginning?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So puzzle game. Is it Tetris?
No. I mean, no.
Is it Tetris 99?
You can't use your guesses. You've already had 2 guesses.
Oh,
So your next
come
one is
on.
part of a series. It's part of a series of games.
Is it Tetris 99?
It is Tetris 99. Yeah. So that's 5 more points. I think on this last one, I'm gonna give you 1 guess per hint. Maybe that's the beta testing here. I'm giving you 2 guesses per hint. But your hints would have been a puzzle game, part of a series, and the series is kind of felt kind of funny about that. It's like the Tetris
Yeah.
series. It's also what I
Yeah.
called the 99 series with Pac-Man 99 and Mario 35.
Yeah.
It's a
Fair
platform
enough.
exclusive. You may or may not have played it. I don't know.
No, I haven't.
It is one blocky boy, and then you have access to it because it's on Nintendo Switch. That was your.
Yeah.
This next one. This
No,
one will be a little.
I don't think I did play that one ever. I do
See,
like Tetris though, just in sparingly.
There you go. Well, you've already gained your honor back. You've got 10 points.
I gained it back as if I lost it
You did
somehow.
lose your honor prior to this. Yes, you didn't know it, but you
Right.
gave this entire podcast with no honor. So I'm very
Right,
proud of you
okay.
for sticking through that.
Yeah. Like I'm a samurai or something.
Yes.
Just regained it. It's very good.
So the hard one. This one, I'm only going to give you 1 guess per hint, mainly because you've already
Okay.
got your honor, so I won't feel bad if you don't get this one.
Okay.
But your first hint is an action game. It is an action game.
It is an action game. Wow, that's there's lots of those.
There are a
So-
few.
There are just a handful of action games. Shoot. And you said these are all games I know about. Like
You've definitely heard of all these games, yes.
okay. It's an action game. Wow, that's a very broad category. What does action mean? I
Well,
mean,
just pushing buttons, moving around. It's not.
so that wouldn't count like a strategy game like Fire Emblem or something. It wouldn't count that as an action.
Yeah, it's not. That's like a strategy game. Yeah.
Okay, that's just making sure. Action game. Is it? Oh, I can't think of any action games.
It's
I'll
a
just
tough-
look at is it God of War?
It is not God of
2018?
War. So your second hint, it is a console exclusive.
Okay. Is it Ghost of Tsushima?
It is not. Third
Dang.
hint, you have not played this game. At least to my knowledge, you have not played this game.
Okay. Console exclusive. Have not played it. Is it Days Gone?
It is not.
Dang.
Your fourth hint, it is published by Nintendo.
Astral Chain.
Ding, ding, ding. It is Astral
Wow.
Chain. Good job.
Thanks.
So I think that gets you, what's that? 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's 4 points. So you end up with
14 points.
14 out of 18. That is very honorable. That is
Wow.
very honorable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your hints were going to be action game, console exclusive. You've not played it, published by Nintendo. Then the characters are not in Smash as a playable character, and then developed by Platinum Games. I was just going to kind of give it to you there.
Yeah, I was gonna basically give it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'll have to refine that for next time we do this. I'll have to make it a little more challenging for you. Think of ways to balance that a little better. But I am very proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you.
14
Thank
of
you.
18 is very respectable.
Wow. I feel good about that. That was a
Cool.
good game. It's a nice little twist on that formula of
make it-
guessing games based on hints.
Yeah, of course,
so,
making you think.
yeah.
Well,
I like
cool.
it.
Well, I think that's about all we have for our inaugural episode of the Dailey-Lumber podcast.
Tentative name. It's in work.
Tentative permanent name, permanent.
Or maybe it will be permanent. Who
Project
knows?
Dailey-Lumber.
I like that. That I can get behind.
So, anyone watching, I appreciate it, whether you know me, whether you don't know me. If you have any questions you want us to answer on the next episode, we're gonna try to keep doing this. I would really appreciate it if you would, any thoughts, suggestions, whether they be for the format of the show or stuff you want us to talk about, anything like that. We're having fun with it. We're going to keep going, I think, as far as I know.
I'm down.
Yeah, so yeah, anything you want to say, we'd really appreciate it. I appreciate anyone watching. And if you are interested, I do stream at twitch.tv/dailybeating. I'll leave it in the description below. And you can even catch Sir Lumber in there, often playing games with me, whether it be Smash Bros. Or Monster Hunter, or just generally in the chat. So if you want to, maybe talk to us live, you can say what's up. Let us know that this video sent you. And if you know what, if I asked you to watch this because I know you and you made it this far, I appreciate it. So shout out to you. But I think that's all we got for the day. Any final thoughts over there, Sir Lumber?
No, this was a good time. I'm glad we're jumping into something like this. I really like talking about video games, and yeah, would honestly be happy to talk about this kind of stuff with anybody who wants to share their thoughts or ask questions, or it's one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, this was fun.
Well, good stuff. Well, once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.
See ya.
See ya. Currently recording. I can edit out the beginning of it, but all right, we'll go ahead and start.
Oh, you're currently recording.
I just clicked it just because I don't want to. I was paranoid about forgetting to hit record.
Gotcha.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna start up the thing. And 3, 2, 1.